Can I move this? الحمد لله يهديكم الله ويصلح بالكم. Okay. So we made a promise that inshallah ta'ala we're going to address the sisters who do not see the obligation of the niqab. Some advices inshallah ta'ala. The first of those advices is, even though some of the scholars said that it's not obligatory for the woman to cover her face, even though some of the scholars did say that, but it is highly recommended according to them. So at least encourage yourself to go towards the sunnah, even if you don't believe it's what? Wajib. Especially at the times of trials and tribulations, times of fitna, when the people have become very evil, it becomes even more important for a person to cover their face, or the girl to cover her face. Point number 2. A lot of the fuqaha al-shafi'iyah, this is fa'idatu thaniya. A lot of the fuqaha al-shafi'iyah, I can't speak for other madhahibs, but a lot of the scholars of the Shafi'i madhab, they say that the woman should not cover her face, and they actually intend by that, okay, at the time of Hajj and Umrah. Okay? So don't confuse that time with what? Outside Hajj. And the majority of the quotes that Sheikh Nasir rahimahullah, Sheikh Nasir al-Din al-Albani rahimahullah quotes, if you go to the chapters he takes it from, it's in the chapters of what? Hajj and Umrah. Okay, so it's important to take that point on board, inshallah ta'ala. The third, inshallah ta'ala, advice that I want to give, inshallah ta'ala, is if you do see the permissibility of showing your face, at least don't wear makeup and beautify your face. If you see it to be not wajib, and you see it to be mustahab, don't beautify your face and put things on. If the woman is wearing niqab and she puts makeup on, there's no problem. Her face is covered. Are we all together, brothers? But if she's choosing not to wear niqab, then she should not wear anything that beautifies her face or anything that attracts her to the opposite gender. The fourth and final point is, shaitan attacks the children of Adam gradually, step by step. So if a woman's wearing niqab, it's not easy for her to take off her hijab. So the niqab will be a what? A preventative factor for you to stay away from ever coming out and exposing your beauty. In summary, the woman's hijab has to meet these conditions by unanimous agreement. There is a unanimous agreement that the woman's hijab has to follow these conditions. Number 1, it should cover her body. Some are saying everything, and some are saying what? Except the hand and the face. So that first condition, but the rest of the body is agreed upon. The khilaf is, some are saying an tastura jami'a badaniha, she has to conceal the entire body, and then there's a group saying no, the hand and the face are exception. So that's the first, but the rest is agreed upon. The rest of the body is agreed upon. Number 2, so no woman's hair should come out. Okay, we all together. It shouldn't be showing. A woman's thighs, her legs, her arm, all of that should not be showing. The second condition is alla yashiffa aw yasiffa badanaha. The woman is not allowed to wear clothing that shows the form of her body. This is all agreed upon. There's no dispute on this one. So the woman should wear clothing which is that does not stick to her body. Are we all together? In other words, if she can wear hijab that is a bit hard, so it doesn't show her body. Number 3. The second one was, it can't be soft, as in like soft so much that her whole body can be seen. The third lakin is, it can't be tight. ألا يكون ضيقا يصف حجم أعضائها, that it shows her body parts. It's stuck to her. It's covering everything, but it's stuck to her. That's not allowed. Okay? The fourth one is ألا يكون زينة في نفسه. She can't wear clothing that has beautification on it. Like this, she's wearing a jilbab which has glitters and يعني, are we all together? And nowadays, this has become the problem. Even the ones who are wearing hijab, they choose their hijab on how beautiful it is, right? And that goes against the idea of what? The hijab is, you're not meant to look beautiful in it. Are we all together? The sister's like, I like this hijab because I look good in it. Yeah? The fifth one is ألا يكون معطرا أو مبخرا. The woman is not allowed to place perfume or things on it. She's not allowed to. Are we all together, brothers? Perfume and etc. Let me finish these conditions, inshallah. She's not allowed. Okay? It's prohibited and it's haram from the woman to do that. Also, ألا يكون فيه تشبيه بالرجال. Her clothing cannot imitate the clothing of men. So for example, if she's wearing a hijab, the hijab is made out of, if we agree, my examples might be wrong. Okay, but the concept is still right. Are we all together, brothers? So for example, she wears a hijab made out of jeans, for example. If we agree that the jeans is for men only, if we agree. Okay, I'm not saying it is. I'm not asserting that. I don't even know if it is. But if it is, she's not allowed to wear any clothing that men wear. Okay? Clothing that are known for men, men only wear it. Clothing that's known for women, women wear it. And last but not least, it can't be imitating the disbelievers. The clothing that she's wearing should not imitate the what? Disbelievers. And it also shouldn't imitate the clothing of the bad people. By the way, these two first conditions is not only to the women, it's also to what? The men as well. Men are not allowed to wear clothing that imitates the non-Muslims, and also they're not allowed to wear clothing that what? That imitates the kuffar and the fusaq and the ahlul bid'ah and all of that. Also, you're not allowed to wear clothing that imitates women. Men are not allowed to wear that. Sah? It's prohibited for that. Also another one, this is also important, which is known as Libaas Shuhra. Libaas Shuhra means what? Clothing that sticks you out from the rest of the people. You're not allowed to wear that. Libaas Shuhra means, yani the person is wearing this clothing so that the person can stick out from the rest of the people. So he can become famous for it. He's not allowed to wear clothing like that. Now there isn't, every land has certain clothes like that. It changes from places to places. Are we all together, brothers? For example, in some countries they only wear white thobes. Sah? They wear white. So then when you go to those countries, don't wear black and different colors. Are we all together, brothers? Just don't stick out from the rest of the people, just wear white. Are we all together, brothers? So you don't stick out from the rest of the people. Sheikh Muhammad Nasiruddin al-Albani was mentioned about him. A man came to him and he was wearing a black hat. And he said, take it off, take it off, take it off. Not that black hat is haram. But he just said the people of the land don't know this stuff. The people don't wear this. Sah? Are we all together? So don't try to stick out from the rest of the people. That's why when I go to India, I wear shifar kameez. Yeah, just to be part of the people and wear their clothing is very good. Sah? When you go to Malaysia, you wear the what? The lungi, yeah? So just so that you don't stick out from the rest of the people, because their clothing is very good, and it's what? It's beautiful. So it's good to wear those clothing. Are we all together, brothers? Now, no, there's clothing that attracts you and clothing which is famous is two different things. They're two different conditions. Now, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to go into the awrah of the woman in front of her children, her husband. No, husband, put that aside. The awrah in front of her children, her father, her brothers. And this one's very important, brothers and sisters. Very important. Especially if you're in the da'wah scene, you get very weird questions sometimes sent to your inbox, and you read these emails, you're like, ooh. And it's all sorts of questions that come about. So we have to, and these are some of those questions. Okay, brothers and sisters. So how do we protect our honor and our children's honor and protect them from? Is that in Islam, a woman should not dress promiscuously. She should not dress in some ways in front of her own brothers and siblings. Are we all together? In front of her own father. She shouldn't. Are we all together, brothers and sisters? This is important. But what is it that the woman can show? Again, the scholars, they don't have evidences to narrow that down. So it changes from places what? To places. So how do we determine what a sister can wear in front of her maharim? We look at, the scholars say, the righteous people of that land, what do they consider? The good people, what do they consider? Good, respectful, moderate, what do they consider it? Not the evil people. Are we all together? And generally speaking, a woman can take off her hijab, her neck can show, her face can show, her legs can show, and her hands can show, maybe even her arms can show. Generally speaking, that's fine. Are we all together? That's all right. If a woman wears a long abaya, maybe shows her arms, okay? And it shows also what? Her neck, her face, her hair, and her legs. That's fine, inshallah ta'ala. And it's what? Permissible for her to wear that in front of her children. It's also fine for her to wear that in front of what? Her brothers, and etc. Feet. Yes, jazakallah khairan. Her feet, sahih. That's general, okay? Give or take. Maybe some places they might add more to that, and some places they might take that away from. Some cultures don't believe the woman should show her hair even to her father. Some cultures, yes. So girls are always wearing hijab, even in front of the hair. She doesn't show it. Only her face and her hands and her legs are only seen by her father and her siblings. And more than that, they see that to be something else. Then that she should follow that, inshallah ta'ala. As for the awrah of a woman in front of a woman, what is it? It's just what we just mentioned right now, in front of her maharim. Okay? Again, it's just a general concept. There's no clear-cut evidence to suggest. As for the awrah of a woman in front of her husband, there's no limit to that. There's no restrictions to that. What about, is a person allowed to show their awrah if they're by themselves and nobody's with them? You're by yourself in your house. Are you allowed to just take off your clothes? No one lives with you. You're by yourself in the house. Is that permissible for you to do? The Prophet ﷺ, he said, Allah is deserving of you to be shy of him. Are we all together? So you have to be shy and cover yourself up, even if you are what? Even if you're by yourself and nobody's what? With you. Now, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to mention other issues, not related to the awrah, but other sorts of clothings that inshallah ta'ala we want to shed some light on. Having clothings that have pictures on it. Okay? Pictures of people's faces and all of that. A large number of scholars from the Madhab al-Shafi'iyya and the Hanabila and also the Hanafiyyah, and it's also the opinion that Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah chose, and Muhammad ibn Ali Shawkani and Ibn Baz and Ibn Uthaymeen and others, is that it's impermissible for you to wear clothing that has what? Pictures on it. Okay? It's pictures, not like pictures of flowers and trees and all of that's fine. But we're talking about living things. We're talking about pictures of human beings, animals and things like that. Those great scholars and those imams in Islam, they mentioned that it's what? It's prohibited. And they based it on a few number of hadiths. Zayd ibn Khalid al-Juhani radiyallahu anhu, he said, إن أبا طلحة حدثه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تدخل الملائكة بيتا فيه صورة. The angels do not enter a house where there is what? Pictures. So they use this as evidence. And they also even used the Prophet ﷺ when he saw a curtain that had pictures on it, he requested for Aisha radiallahu anha to what? To remove it. So from that, some scholars, they took the impermissibility of wearing clothing that has what? Pictures on it. What about clothing that has pictures of trees, for example, and the moon, for example, and the mountains? And by unanimous agreement of the scholars, all of them, the Hanafiya and the Malikiyya and the Shafi'iyya and the Hanabila, by unanimous agreement, they all agree that it's what? It is permissible for you to wear those type of clothes. If it's got trees and moon and stars and all of that, it's permissible. There's nothing wrong with that. Also, clothing that has symbols of disbelief on it, like wearing clothes that has the what? Christian sign, for example. You're not allowed to wear clothing that has those, it's called a salib, the Christian sign. You're not allowed to have that. And it is haram. And the Prophet ﷺ prohibited it. And a lot of our youngsters need to go back to a lot of the team, and they support, okay? The football teams that you support, be careful. Sometimes there are those kind of signs inside the team that might be there. Be careful. There might be a cross there. So be very careful and stay away from wearing clothing like that, which is haram. Are you also allowed to wear clothing that has Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim on it, or Allahu Akbar, which is very common in the new day fashion? They sell that for Muslims, hoodies especially, that has Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim on it, or things like that. It is haram for a person to wear clothing that has what? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, ayat from the Quran, or Allah's name, anything in Allah's name on it. It's haram, because what will happen later is when you take it off, what do? You throw it, you wash it, you sweat inside it. So Allah's name should not be degraded like that. We should stay away from it. Another issue we want to talk about when it comes to clothing is isbal, the garment being below the ankle. It is haram for a person to wear a garment below the ankles if they are doing it for arrogance. So point one, if the person is doing it out of arrogance, kibr, khuyala, he's got a garment that is below his ankles, this is haram by all four madahibs. The Hanafiya, the Malikiyya, the Shafi'iyya, and the Hanabila, they all agree, there's no dispute, that it is haram for you to wear garment below your ankles out of arrogance. And the evidence that they used was من جر ثوبه خيلاء لم ينظر الله إليه يوم القيامة. Anyone who wears a garment below their ankles out of arrogance, Allah will not look at them the day of judgment. Okay, so this hadith is clear of what? The severity of wearing your garment below your ankle. And we're talking to who? The men, not the women. Specifically the men. If your garment is below your ankles and you're doing it out of arrogance, Allah will not look at you the day of judgment. But the question here is, what about if you wear it and it's not out of arrogance? You're not wearing it out of arrogance. You're wearing it because it's fashion. It just looks nice. It is also haram as well for the men to wear a garment below their ankles, even if it's not out of arrogance. Okay? And this is, of course, the common view of the Hanabila, Ibn Hazm, Ibn al-Arabi, Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Hajar, As-San'ani, Ibn Baz, Ibn Uthaymin, and many other great scholars. This is the opinion that they pushed. And the evidences really does support them, which is that The Prophet said in another hadith, ما أسفل من الكعبين ففي النار. Anything that is below the ankles is going to be in the hellfire. So the punishment for the one who does it out of arrogance is that Allah will not look at him the day of judgment. And the punishment of the one who doesn't do it out of arrogance is what? That your legs are going to be in the hellfire. That your legs are what? They're going to be in the hellfire. Yawm al-Qiyamah. Now some of you might have a question and say, but how can some of my body parts be burnt in the hellfire and others? I don't want to go into the technicality of that issue. It's another mas'ala. You're opening another door on me. But
there is a hadith that he felt that his clothing is going below the ankle and he went to Prophet Muhammad and said that you are out of because you are not doing the arrows.
Yes. So but Abu Bakr never left his house with his garment below his ankles. It kept falling and he kept pulling it up. It kept falling, he kept pulling it up. That's why the Prophet said, you are different. Does that make sense? It's different from a person who dresses up, leaves his house knowing it's below his ankles, buys it like that, wants to wear it like that. There's a difference, first of all. Two different scenarios. And he didn't let it go down below his ankles. It kept falling and he kept pulling it up. And then the Prophet said, you, Abu Bakr, are not doing it out of arrogance. Are we all together? There's another hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Al-isbalu min al-makhila. Actually having your garment below your ankles itself is arrogance. And Imam al-Tirmidhi narrated this in his Jami'. So some scholars actually held the opinion that having your garment below your ankles, whether you intend arrogance or not, it doesn't matter. They believe that it's already arrogance by default. I've told you another opinion, which is that you can and you may not. Are we all together? I mentioned those two. And my heart settles with that. But there is a narration that is authentic that says having your garment below your ankles itself is arrogance. That's very serious. Huh? Yes, trousers. Any garment below the ankles. Any garment cannot be below the ankles. Because the hadith clearly says, ما أسفل. ما is من أدوات العموم, صح? Anything. ما أسفل من الكعبين ففي النار. So it doesn't matter. Shorts. Yeah, as long as it's what?
Okay, but what are the shorts? Even the garment is above that, but it is a continuity. Socks you are using at the same time. Your trousers above the ankle. But if you want a walk or something, you see the continuity. The ankle is covered.
Oh yeah.
As well as the.
No, they're two different things, like him. I like your point, mashallah. The difference is one starts from the top and it makes its way down, and one starts from the bottom and it makes its way up.
But here we are covering the ankles. With the shorts, we are covering the ankles.
No, in Islam, before Nabi Muhammad, at his time, there was something known as al-khuffayn and al-jawrab. The Prophet had leather socks. He never ever considered that to be part of the garment. So you were allowed to have the jawrab and the khuffayn. You were allowed to wear that. But the Prophet ﷺ, when he came, one time he prohibited it. ﷺ. Look, the garment can be close to your ankle. It can be close to your ankle. It just can't be below your ankle. And guess what, brothers? Let's be honest. That will make your garment last forever. Come on. If your garment keeps pulling the ground and touching the floor, it's going to finish. It's going to wear out. Hygienically, it's better for you to have your garment a bit high, does it not? And funny enough, second point. Funny enough, it's actually fashion now. Yeah? So, are you allowed to fold it? Are you allowed to fold it? Yes, you are allowed to fold it, but except when you come to the prayer. When you come to the prayer, tuck it into your socks, inshallah ta'ala, okay? Tuck it into your what? Tuck it in your socks.
During the prayer, but out of prayer also.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So, can it touch the top of the foot?
Can it touch that?
Top of the foot. Just the ankle, but top of the foot. Not
It can touch the ankle as well, as long as it's not below the ankle.
Whole ankle can cover this.
It can cover the ankle, but as long as it doesn't go below the ankle.
And it just covers
Okay.
I'm wearing jeans and I've already folded it. I'm wearing all day. You're saying while when prayer, the jeans cannot be folded?
If is it tailored like that, or you folded it?
It's long, and I just happened it with my fingers, like,
You folded it, yeah. Okay. In the salah, you're not allowed to fold anything. You're not allowed to fold it from here. You're not allowed to fold here, nor are you allowed to fold from the bottom.
You can fold it opposite side, like not on the backward.
No, you can't fold it in or you can't fold it out. You're not allowed to fold it at all. Okay? Go to a tailor, tell him to cut it and stitch it for you permanently.
So for salat, anything cannot be folded. That's the rule.
Say that again. Nothing can't be. You can't fold this. So inshallah ta'ala, what you can do, the best advice I'd give you is go to the tailors and tell them to stitch it for you permanently, inshallah ta'ala. Yes, the Prophet prohibited the folding of any of the garments. Let's carry on. Brothers, let me mention the other one. What about isbal for the women? What about the women? Can they have their garments below their ankles? Of course they can. Rather, they must. They must cover their legs. But if the woman is wearing socks or she's wearing shoes, it doesn't have to pull. Are we all together, brothers? If the woman is wearing socks and she's wearing shoes, okay, her legs are covered, right? Then a garment doesn't have to drag the ground. Are we all together? But if she chooses not to wear socks, and she chooses not to wear what? Socks and shoes, and she's wearing like female sandals, for example, right? Then she has to have a garment that covers her what? Her legs. The legs of the woman is what? It's awrah.
One question in the same line, like if the garment is dragging, so should we consider it to be pure? Like, is it okay for women to say their prayer with that garment?
So the same hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he said to the women, "Yurkhina shibran," handspan. Okay, that their garment has to pull handspan. A woman, she said to the Prophet ﷺ, "Idan tankashifu aqdamuhunna." But O Messenger of Allah, their legs are going to show when they pick their leg up. Then the Messenger ﷺ, he said, "Fayurkhina dira'an." She has to let it this much. After she walks, the Prophet said, this much. لا يزيدن عليه, she should not and she shouldn't exceed onto that. Are we all together, brothers? Now, are we all together, brothers? Then the Prophet ﷺ, he said, when she walks on the ground and she goes through somewhere wet, the sand that comes after is going to clean it for her. We already know this earth is pure, right? But today, inshallah ta'ala, in some countries, some people might be watching it from the UK, some people might be watching it from Western countries. It's not safe for a sister's garment to drag that long because the non-Muslims, they stand on it. Sometimes they get caught up in buses. It gets caught up in trains and it pulls her head back. Okay? So what is good for a sister is to wear her shoes and socks and boots or whatever she wants to wear, cover her legs, and her garment can just be on top of her shoes. Are we all together, brothers? That's fine, inshallah ta'ala. She's fully covered in bi'idhnillahi al-kareem. Now we're going to speak about, is it allowed for the men to have silk clothing? It is haram for men to wear silk clothing. That's by unanimous agreement of the scholars. The Hanafiya and the Malikiya and the Shafi'iyya and the Hanabila. There's a consensus transmitted in the matter. The Prophet ﷺ, he grabbed silk with one hand. He placed it in his right hand, and he took gold in the other hand, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his left hand, and he said, "Inna hadaini, these two, haramun ala dhukuri ummati." These two, gold and silk, are haram for men. Men are not allowed to have what? Gold and silk. Men are not allowed to. Men are not allowed to wear it. Are we all together, brothers? Very good. What about if it has small amount of silk in it? Very small amount. If it's very little, no problem. Okay. How much is small? The scholars, they mention 4 fingers. This is the madhab al-jumhur, the view of the majority of the Hanafiya and the Shafi'iyya and the Hanabila. And it's a view that the Malikiyya push very much. Are we all together?
It's like percentage wise, like we buy gold, 20% say 5%, 90% cotton and 5% silk.
Stay away from things like that. The percentage is very high.
Silk, sometimes there is an artificial silk also. So is this allowed?
Yeah, and they call it al-harir al-sana'i. The largest amount of scholars, they made it what? They made it haram. They said stay. They said stay away to. That's the fatwa of Shaykh ibn Baz rahimahullah ta'ala and Ibn Uthaymeen and the fatwa of Lajna Da'ima. That is what? It is the al-harir al-sina'i. They said it's what? It's haram. So they have to stay away from that. Okay. What about silk for women? Women are allowed to have silk. Women are allowed to have silk, and this is a consensus from the four madahibs. They all agree upon that. Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he grabbed these two, what did he say? Sallallahu inna hadayni haramun ala dhukuri ummati. It's haram for the what? The men of this ummah. So a man is not allowed to wear what? Silk. A man is not allowed to wear silk. Is it halal for someone to wear fur of animals that have claws? Like tigers and stuff like that. What about if it's tanned? The strongest opinion that it's haram to wear fur, skin that is taken from a siba. Okay? Yeah? It's haram to take it whether it's tanned or not, it doesn't matter. And that's the strongest opinion according to the Hanabila. And it is a speech and a view in the Shafi'i madhab. It's a view in the Shafi'i madhab. And it's the qawl from the Malikiya Ibn Habib. Okay, and a great number of the scholars said this, like Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Mundhir and Ibn al-Qayyim al-Shawkani, and it's the fatwa of Lajna Da'ima. Are we all together? Everybody, that one.
Nowadays, very common leather jacket.
Inshallah ta'ala, there's many things that are very common nowadays. I want to finish a lot of points. I'm going to take all the questions at the end, inshallah ta'ala. There's so much points that need to be covered, and inshallah ta'ala spoken about. What about some of the manners that we should follow when it comes to wearing clothes? Things that are recommended that we should try to do, inshallah ta'ala. When you're wearing clothes, brothers and sisters, try to start with your right side. At-tayammun, the right side, when you wear your clothes. And this is based on the hadith. كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعجبه التيمن في تنعله وترجله وطهوره وفي شأن كله. In all of the Prophet's affairs, he used to love to start with the what? The right side. So the first manners that you should observe is anything that you wear generally starts with your right side. It's not a must, it's not wajib, but it's what? Highly recommended, inshallah ta'ala. It's a very good thing. Also, make dua if it's new clothes. If the clothes that you're going to wear is brand new clothing, then make dua by saying, Allahumma laka alhamdu, anta kasawtanihi, as'aluka min khayrihi, wa khayri ma suni'a lah, wa a'udhu bika min sharrihi, wa sharri ma suni'a lah. So the person makes that dua, and there are many other du'as you can find in the book Husnul Muslim, where inshallah ta'ala he mentions it. Also, if another person sees with somebody else wearing new clothes, they should also do what? Yeah. Or say to them, give it to me. I'm joking. You don't say, give it to me. You make dua for the person. Okay? Also, focus on getting white clothes. White clothes is highly recommended, brothers. White clothes. Sah? And alhamdulillah, in the Arabian countries, in the Khalij, they give a lot of importance to white clothes, which is a very good thing. But like in all the time, you'll see the Westerners and subcontinent and the Westerners, we wear all different colors. Sah? We do, right? So white. Let's focus on what? Wearing white. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ilbisu, wear min thiyabikumul bayada, from your clothing, wear the white. فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ خَيْرِ ثِيَابِكُمْ, it's the best from your clothing. وَكَفِّنُوا فِيهَا مَوْتَاكُمْ, and your dead, shroud them with white. The Prophet said it. Yeah? For the men, yes, for the men. Okay? Also try to wear the best of your clothes. Look presentable, brothers. Okay? Try to look what? Presentable and look good. Allah says, قُلْ مَنْ حَرَّمَ زِينَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي أَخْرَجَ لِعِبَادِهِ وَالطَّيِّبَاتِ مِنَ الرِّزْقِ. Come out with your beauty. Dress up as a Muslim. Don't look like you came out from the rubbish bin. Look presentable, clean, very good. Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا أَنفَقُوا لَمْ يُسْرِفُوا وَلَمْ يَقْتُرُوا وَكَانَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ قَوَامًا. But with moderation. With what? With moderation. Try to get your clothings with moderation. Also try to wear clothing which is humble. Yani looking beautiful and presentable doesn't mean it looks arrogant. Have clothing which is at-tawadu', humility and humbleness. Also avoid walking and wearing one shoe. Wearing what? One shoe. The Prophet ﷺ, he said in the hadith, لا يمشي أحدكم في نعل واحدة. One of you should not walk with one shoe. Don't walk with what? One shoe. Don't do that. Either the Prophet, he said, take them both off. No, take the other, the one that you're wearing, take it off, or wear both of them. Okay? Yeah? Wear it, all of it, or take out all of it. We've kind of touched on the most important points regarding what? Clothing. We want to go into the next part of the session, inshallah ta'ala, which is adornment, zina, beautifying yourself, okay?
Any stipulation on the color?
There is no restrictions on the color of the clothing. Only red. Should we take that some of the colors? But we won't be able to finish the beauty. We won't be able to finish everything related to clothing, brothers. So let's just do the zina. If we get time, I'll go back to the colors that are allowed and the colors that are not allowed. So now we're going to go into a zina. A zina means what, brothers? Look at these general principles for beauty, and then later we're going to go into some examples, inshallah ta'ala. There are general principles that you should have in mind when it comes to adorning yourself and beautifying yourself. Number one, stay away from wearing clothes that resemble women, brothers. And sisters, stay away from wearing clothes that resemble men. So that's the first one. The Prophet ﷺ, he cursed, okay, the men that wear women's clothing and women that wear men's clothing. The second thing that you have to observe when it comes to a zina beautification is do not imitate the non-Muslims and the innovators, for example, and the people of sins and crimes and bad people, okay? Don't dress like them. Rappers and people who are in bad industries, don't copy them. Don't copy them, okay? The third principle that you should observe and look at is the third principle that you should observe is your beautification of this clothing should not bring any harm, okay, to you. You're not allowed to harm yourself by what? These points are very important because nowadays this is really attacked. People are beautifying themselves in a way that is physically harming them. Sah? Yeah? Not just even piercing. Piercing enters another issue of what? Changing the way Allah created you. But some of them are wearing high heels and their legs are hurting them. Sah? The woman wants to look tall. She can't walk, she's struggling. She can't take 5 steps. Her legs and her whole body is hurting her. When she goes home, she has to put her legs somewhere and it's hurting her. You're not allowed to do that to yourself in Islam. لا ضرر ولا ضرار ولا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة واحسنوا إن الله يحب المحسنين. You're not allowed to throw yourself into harm and into problems. The religion doesn't like that for you. The next one is that you're not allowed to go overboard in the issue of beautification. Some people go over what? They go overboard. And Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He tells us in the Quran, He says, يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد وكلوا واشربوا ولا تسرفوا إن الله لا يحب المسرفين. Allah does not like those who go overboard, so don't go overboard. Also the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, كلوا, eat, وتصدقوا, give in charity, والبسوا, and adorn, يعني wear clothes, okay, beautify yourselves. في غير إسراف, without going overboard, ولا مخيلة, and don't come with arrogance. Okay? So the clothing that you're wearing, you can't go overboard. How many conditions have we mentioned so far? 4. The 5th one is it should not change the way Allah created you. This beautification should not what? Change the way that Allah created you. And Allah told us what shaitan wants to do. وَلَأُضِلَّنَّهُمْ وَلَأُمَنِّيَنَّهُمْ وَلَآمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلَيُبَتِّكُنَّ آذَانَ الْأَنْعَامِ وَلَآمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلَيُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ وَمَنْ يَتَّخِذِ الشَّيْطَانَ وَلِيًّا مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ فَقَدْ خَسِرَ خُسْرَانًا مُبِينًا يَعِظُهُمْ وَيُمَنِّيهِمْ وَمَا يَعِدُهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ إِلَّا غُرُورًا. صح? So in that ayah, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He tells us that one of the things that shaitan wants to do is what? فَلَيُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ, by changing the way Allah created you. Okay? From those is what? Men and women do it now the same. It's not just women anymore. It's plucking the eyebrows. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed, alayhi salatu wasalam, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ الْوَاشِمَاتِ, may Allah's curse be upon those who what? Who tattoo themselves. People who do tattoos. It's on the rise now. People who do tattoos on their body. The Prophet cursed them, alayhi salatu wasalam. And the one who does it, who do the tattoo, وَالْمُسْتَوْشِمَاتِ, they're also cursed. وَالْمُتَنَمِّصَاتِ, the women who what? Pluck the eyebrows. وَالْمُتَفَلِّجَاتِ, that's not there anymore. Back in the days it used to exist, where women used to split their teeth so just they can have a little space in there between their front teeth. It was a form of beautification that they used to do. The Prophet said, Al-Mughayyirati khalq Allah, those who change the way Allah created them, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they're cursed. By the way, what does Allah mean? It means atartu min rahmatillah. Allah's mercy is distance from them. The sixth principle that it should observe, the beautification, is أَلَّا يَكُونَ فِي غِشٌّ أَوْ تَدْلِيسٌ. There can't be deception in this beautification. Are we all together, brothers? The beautification that you're coming with, it can't be what? It can't be deception. Are we all together, brothers? And this is an issue that's vital. Some sisters, the brother comes to the meeting, it's all formal, it's been done in a nice way. Yeah? He goes through the father, the girl comes and she puts on face painting. I don't call it makeup. Face painting. It makes the person a different person now. Okay? So they paint their face, they come, they sit in front of the brother ends up seeing the sister, and then he says, I want to go for this. I like this. I want to get married. And a week or two later into the marriage, he's like, oh no. Are we all together, brothers? So at the beginning, these things are very important to not deceive the person. Are we all together, brothers? Brothers are like that as well. It's not only the sisters. Stop laughing, brothers. You're like that as well. You wear a specific type of clothing that makes you look like you've got big arms. And you look, you look like you've done i'tikaf in the gym. So it gives a false impression to the sister. And you select what pictures you send to the wali. Saying this one, no. You send, and the sister's family accept you based on that. And the day when you come, you are someone else. They think you're the one who's carrying the shoes for the brother. So that's not allowed. You're not allowed to deceive. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, Man ghashana falaysa minna. Whoever deceives is not from. Last but not least, the seventh is a person is not allowed to what? You're not allowed to beautify yourself with something which is haram. You're not allowed to beautify yourself with haram. For example, a person is not allowed to, a man, he's not allowed to sprinkle gold on himself if he wants to look good. Okay? He's not allowed to. Some men, they wear rings and to look beautiful and to look nice, necklace and earrings and what's it called? Gold rings and gold watches and stuff like that, and chains and all of that, just so they can look good. All of that is what? Haram. Or they wear golden teeth, they put a gold tooth in there, and they say, yeah, I have to because one of my teeth. No, brother, come on. Taqillah. Are we all together? It's very important. So that is, if you sit down and you look at those 7 conditions that were mentioned, what will you realize? That I don't need to go into details for you to understand, okay, wow, a lot of things that people are beautifying themselves with is what? Is a problematic thing, sah? Are we all together, brothers? And nowadays, subhanAllah, you don't have to put makeup anymore on. The phone has filters. Is it called filters, right? Photoshop. You look like daytime, and reality you look nighttime. The issue of the camera is changing the person the way Allah created them, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is it fair to say that that's changing the way Allah created you? Huh? It's a matter that needs to be looked at. Okay? It's a matter that needs to be researched and looked at, inshallah ta'ala. Are we all together? I want to mention a few things that people generally do to beautify themselves. Let's discuss those things. Let's start with brothers. Hair loss. Hair loss. You lost your hair. What can you do? I want my hair I used to have, but it's gone now. It's long gone. What can you do with bringing back the hair? The scholars divide the hair loss into 2. Okay? The hair loss, they divide into what? 2. One is they are going to take methods to bring back your original hair. They might take some hair from body parts and stuff like that and place it on here, and then Allahumma barik, you look like 20. That one, according to the strongest opinion, that's permissible, inshallah. There's nothing wrong with that. Are we all together? That's fine, inshallah ta'ala. You can now go Turkey and get your hair. The second one is where they place this a fake wig. Okay? And subhanallah, the YouTube videos, when you watch it, wallahi, have you seen it? The wig that they put on, they make the person bald. And I only used to think wigs were, women would only be the ones that wear it. But now, Allahumma barik, it's a very common thing now for men to wear it. So they put this thing on their head, stick it properly, they glue it on your hair, they put glue on your head. First they shave your hair, they put glue on it, strong glue, they stick this thing on, and then they cut your hair for you. And the hair's right here, everything, they shape up, and you will never think to yourself, this person has lost hair. That one is not permissible. That's deception, and it's not allowed according to the strongest opinion. Are we all together, brothers? Does that make sense? That's not allowed. What about if I just want to connect hair to my hair? Do you understand? Of somebody else and stuff like that. Just make it look longer. For men and women, is it allowed? A large amount of scholars, they said it's what? It's not allowed. Whether that it's a human's hair or if it's taken from an animal, and they said it should be avoided and left. Are we all together? What about shortening your hair? What about shortening your hair? Cutting your hair, you want to make it short. For men, of course, it's allowed, right? But the question is, can a woman shorten her hair? A woman is allowed to shorten her hair to beautify herself. She can, as long as it doesn't reach a level where then she starts to look like a man. Okay, are we all together? She can't cut it, so she can shorten it. Okay, maybe take a small portion of her hair from it, maybe split ends, dead ends. So she cuts a nice good portion so her hair can grow again. But can she make her hair like ours? Okay, that's not allowed because it looks like a man's head. A man. That's the qawl of Sheikh Ibn Baz and Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen and the Fatwa al-Lajna Da'ima. As for shaving, that's not allowed for women at all. Shaving the hair of a woman is not allowed. Okay, it's haram. It's madhab al-Hanafiyya wal-Malikiyya, and it's a strong opinion according to the Hanabila. It's the view of Al-Hassan al-Basri rahimahullah and Ibn Hazm and the ikhtiyar of Ibn Hajar and Shaykh al-Allama Muhammad al-Amin al-Shanqiti in his Adwa' al-Bayan fi Idah al-Quran bil-Quran, when he talks about Hajj, cutting your hair, shaving it, he discusses it there that the women are not allowed to do it, and that's not permissible for them. Now, whilst we're on the hair, what about skin fade? Yeah? You all know what a skin fade is, right? Side skin fade. Qaza in Arabic. Huh? A skin fade, yeah? Is the qaza haram or is it disliked? First of all, let's agree. The qaza, is it karaha or is it haram? Yeah? Put your hand up if you believe it's haram. Huh? No, we don't want to go into it looking like the non-Muslims yet. I'm just asking you, al-qaza, aslul hukum, is it karaha or is it tahrim? So just I want to see who believes the qaza is haram. The original ruling is that it's haram. Who believes it's disliked, it's makruh? And who believes Allahu A'lam? I used to believe it was haram, asl hukum. That's what I used to believe. That the asl of the qaza is what? Haram. That's what I believed. But I now believe it's what? The qaza, the asl is that it's what? It's disliked. Actually, is the ittifaq of the four madhabs. The four madhabs, they believe it's disliked. And it's actually the ijma' of An-Nawawi. He transmits an ijma' in the mas'ala, even though there's a nadar to his ijma', but it at least makes it the view of the what? Jumhur al-ulama. Okay? Yeah? Qaza is skin fade, right? You all know skin fade, right? The person cuts from the entirety of this part of their hair and they leave the top. Shave it, yeah, shave it. Yeah, shave. Skin fade, skin. Yeah?
If there's hair shaving.
Sometimes like this, here one and other side is like
two. That's fine. That's not qaza. 2 and 1 and
here they will see the like white color, so that's what you're saying.
if you say that, if you make this one 1
One, yeah.
and you cut this one and you make this to 2, this is not skin fade.
Not 2, sir. What if you cut this 1 and say 5?
Yeah? You got the picture, yeah?
But it's shaving, not trimming, right?
Well, like these two persons would fall under skin fading. That one and that one. Sah? And maybe this brother over here as well. And maybe even, wallahi, to be honest, whoa. So look, I'm going to focus on the issue of the skin fade. Are we all together, brothers? Go to Google, check Google. Ask the word skin fade. Anything that falls under skin fade, I would say it's fair to say it's qaza. Are we all together, brothers? Anything that constitutes, they'll show you all the pictures. All of this, they call it skin fade. That's all qaza. Now, are we all together?
Yes.
Sometimes it's not qaza. They don't consider it to be skin fade. Okay? but it looks, it's not qaza', but you're imitating a football player, for example. What's it called? Yeah? The mohawk. Yeah. So all of that, one football player does it and everybody's doing it. It's not a skin fade. All of this is dangerous as well. Are we all together? What about the beard? What about the beard of a Muslim? Man, of course. Sheikh Albani used to believe that the woman, if she gets beard, she's not allowed to cut it. That was the view of Sheikh Nasr rahimahullah. He believed if a woman had a beard, Allah brought it subhanahu wa ta'ala, and she didn't try to bring it. It came out. Sheikh Albani used to believe you're not allowed to change the way Allah created you. It was an opinion that the scholars did not affirm. Of course, they didn't agree with him, and that's rightly so. Rahimahullah rahmatan wasi'ah. Now let's talk about the beard. The beard of the man, is he allowed to take from the beard? The length of the beard, we're talking about the length. Or must he let his beard grow? Huh? We're talking about the length. It should be neat. But is he allowed to, remember, separate things. Cutting the split ends, the ones that are randomly standing. I don't think anybody would call that shaving your beard, right? Or cutting your beard. Just split ends and just little. Shape it up, that's why it's called shaping up. That's not the discussion here. The discussion here is a person grabs his beard like this and he says, yeah? So there's a valid difference of opinion in this issue. Valid difference of opinion. How long can the beard be? After a fist. After one? A fist. So a man should let his beard grow. Generally speaking, just let your beard grow. But there is a large number of scholars who have the permissibility of cutting it a fist. Some of them even say less than a fist is not a problem. There's a khilaf on the mas'ala, and it's a long discussion that we right now don't want to open. But what is agreed upon what? You're not allowed to shave it. Shaving it is what? That's ijma'. There's no difference of opinion. A man is not allowed to shave his what? Is not allowed to. A man has to what? Mm-hmm. What constitutes a beard? What is a beard?
All the hair that's on the face.
Everything that's on the face.
No, on the
Anything on the jaw. So anything that's on the cheek can be cut.
Yes.
Anything that's on a person's cheek, you can take it down. Yeah? Hey, brothers.
Are you saying that or are you asking?
I'm asking. Are you allowed to take from something on the cheek? Yeah? اختلف العلماء. The safest thing to say is once you start the blade, you finish with the blade. It's very worrying. I've seen people who've read these fatwas sometimes, and they feel, okay, that was nice, let me go a bit down and more down and more down, and then later they take a large chunk of their beard, inshallah ta'ala. The beard is beauty, brothers. Wallahi, it's if we open that door, it's going to be a lot of problems for people. So it's best to leave it, inshallah ta'ala. But you can. Yeah? We're going to come to that. We're on the beard yet. We're on the beard. Inshallah ta'ala, anything that's below a hand's fist, inshallah ta'ala, a lot of scholars believe the permissibility of grabbing it after a fist and cutting it. Even though I personally believe you shouldn't. But there's a large quantity of scholars who believe once you grab it like that, inshallah, take it off. Inshallah. Sheikh Albani believed it's wajib, like him. Once it reaches the qabdah, you have to. You're sinning if you don't, Sheikh Albani believed. Which was a very strange opinion at that time when it came. If he said it was permissible, that's fine, right? A lot of scholars believe it's permissible for you to take after a qabdah. Are we all together, brothers? But anything other than that, stay away from it. Below that, it's not healthy for you to go down that road of. What about your mustache? Inshallah, shorten your mustache and take from it. Shaving is not textually mentioned. So just shorten it. Shorten it as much as you want, but don't shave it in its entirety. Yeah? Avoid it becoming over your lips. Yani, they did mention Umar radiallahu anhu had a big, thick mustache. They said if he breathed to Umar, it moved. Some of the narrations, right? But that still didn't mean he went over his lips. So just try to cut it from after it reaches. Okay. What about women wearing kuhul? Eyeliner. Women are allowed to wear eyeliner. So are the men. Yeah, the men can wear it, and so can the women wear it. If a woman is wearing niqab and her eyes are showing, it's something she should avoid doing. Sah? Another thing is, what's the ruling? And you see this very common, having one long nail. You see that, right? Okay, shar'an, don't let your nails grow, man. It's not nice. Yeah? It's not nice. So cut it. Inshallah ta'ala. Take from that nail. And it's from the things that in our religion, it's from the fitrah. Take from your nails. On Friday specifically, every Friday try to. What about using, and your beard is white, and are you allowed, or your hair is white? Are you allowed to put on henna on your beard? Yeah? Henna. It's actually recommended. It's actually recommended not to leave it white. We're going to come to the other colors. I just want to focus on to change the color of your beard, that's white, to a color other than white is what? It's recommended. Are we all together? We're going to come to black. Changing your beard color to other than black is recommended. Okay? And this is a view of the bulk of the scholars of Islam. But what about black? Is a man allowed to is he allowed to wear black? Yeah?
Can you make your black or yellow, blue, or green? Like my whole beard is look like yellow beard.
Yeah, that's henna, right?
Color, make it
Yeah, orange and all of that, that's fine. We're talking about black. Is black allowed? Put your hand up if you think black is fine. What's wrong with it, brother? Who believes it's allowed? Put your hand up. Yeah? Yeah?
Someone must say yes.
Yeah?
Someone must say yes.
You're hiding your age.
Who said you're hiding your age? You're hiding your age. Are you allowed to? Is it wrong to hide your age?
I remember that one of the sahabis used to, I could be wrong, but they used to dye their beard black, and it's allowed to take care of your beard.
Yeah. So there's a difference of opinion on the issue. My heart is content saying it's disliked. It's not haram, but it's what? It's disliked. For you to what?
Black.
And I don't believe it to be haram. I believe it's what? And we have a large number of sahabas, and we have a large number of tabi'in who actually changed the color of their beards, and they changed it into black. Ibn al-Qayyim mentions them in his Zadul Ma'ad. You'll find it there. He references a lot of them. And if it was haram, then the sahabas would have told the other sahabas it's haram. There is no transmission of any sahabi telling the other sahabi that what you're doing is haram. So when the Prophet stopped them from it, it seems to be that it was what? Disliked.
After reading this hadith, if somebody does it black, is it sinful?
If he does it.
If I know this hadith that Prophet said that should not be black,
Yeah.
then if I still still do it black. So I listen for.
No, it's just light only. It's not haram.
Other than black.
Yeah, it's recommended that.
Any color rather than black, except black. You can use.
Now all the other colors is
Like dark brown.
yeah, that's good, inshallah.
I'm using dark brown.
Very good, mashallah, you look good. Allah barik. Allahumma barik. Perfume, placing perfume on yourself. For men, it's allowed for them to put perfume on even when they leave the house. But the women are what? The women are not allowed to put perfume on, and they're not allowed to leave the house. Without? Whether she's with a man or not, she's not allowed to wear perfume. A woman is not allowed to wear perfume, whether she's with her husband or without her husband. Perfume is not allowed for a woman as soon as she leaves that door. Okay? Is it allowed for a woman to wear gold and beautify herself with gold and silver? Yes. By consensus, women are allowed to? They're allowed to wear it. Okay, what about men? Are men allowed to wear silver? Are women allowed to wear gold shoes? I haven't finished yet. Are women allowed to wear gold shoes? If they have the money. Why don't you say if the husband has the money? So, gold shoes, the scholars dispute one another on the issue of gold shoes. They did. Okay?
Gold shoes or gold plated? Gold.
Gold.
Gold shoes will make sound.
That's some of the scholars' argument. And also it is, israf to walk on gold. Okay. Is a man allowed to have gold, that small amount of gold inside their products? Huh? Something you're wearing, but it has a small amount of gold in it. Is it allowed? It is haram for a man to have gold which is even little. It doesn't matter how little it is. Okay, brothers? Men are not allowed. We have to accept that this is something Allah only allowed for the women, not for the men. Okay? But if it's a necessity, for example, a person is a medical condition, they have to wear gold. There are some conditions where people's body has to be in contact with gold, then it goes into Dawrah, and Dawrah tubihu al-mahdurat. It's a necessity and Islam allows you. Let me
someone wears it just to pass the airport because it is allowed to carry certain amount of gold if you're wearing, but not in terms of. So in that case,
the woman is allowed to wear it, not men.
The family is traveling, woman has certain amount. The gold is there, like 10 grams, for example. Women can carry maybe 7 by the law. A man can carry 3. So
carry them, put it in your pocket. Why would you wear it?
Because in terms of ornaments, they pass it. But if you're carrying it, then they can ask it like 5 years.
Oh, then you have to claim it. Customs. May Allah make it easy for you, but you still can't wear it. What about nose and teeth?
White.
Huh?
White gold.
Gold. It's gold. Yeah, still gold. Gold is what? Gold is gold. Now we're going to go into having gold teeth. What's the ruling? Yeah? It's haram unless it's what? Unless it's a what? Necessity. If it's a necessity, it becomes permissible. Yeah?
Stones. Diamonds, men wear these days now.
Those are different. It's not gold, is it?
And that's permissible?
Of course, it's different from gold. Is a man allowed to wear silver?
Yes.
It's permissible, it's allowed for him. Correct. A man can wear silver. It enters the general evidence. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala permitted for you, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. Everything on this earth is allowed. So there's no evidence to say that the men can't wear silver. What about children? Are we allowed to put gold things on for children? Boys, got boys. We're not allowed to. Girls, are we allowed to do it, girls? MashaAllah. Fadal.
For the gold teeth.
Ah.
What if someone puts on gold teeth by Jahiliyyah when they were young, you know? And then afterwards they
Yeah, it falls under necessity. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen's fatwa was that. It's a necessity. Once they put it on, if they take it out and put on another one, no problem. It went through a medical procedure, they don't have to take it out. Okay? It's just like tattoo. Qabla al-Islam, if a person did tattoo, they don't have to remove it. It's not a must. Good. We've done the issues of gold. Okay. Before we take some questions, let me just finish this point and we'll take questions, inshallah. Do you guys want breaks or should we finish the topic? Yeah? Today's our last day, so let's finish the Zeenah. Or we can take break, no problem. Yeah? Okay, inshallah ta'ala. Rings that men wear. Where do you put your ring in? Hiya? Let's start with the sisters. The women, the ring that they wear, where can they put it in? By unanimous agreement of the scholars, the woman is allowed to put her the ring in where? Anywhere she wants in her fingers. There's no issue in that. What about the men? So the man is allowed to put his ring inside what? Do you know what's this called in Arabic? Pinky. What's it called in Arabic? Khunsur is called, right? So we're going to start with that one. It is permissible for the man to place it in what? His khunsur, whichever hand he wants to. Left or? It's right, inshallah. Nothing wrong with that. No, we're going to come to each one. Each finger, we're going to go through it. So now let's start with the khunsur. A man's allowed to wear it and put it in. What about the middle finger? Which one is the sababa? Hey? MashaAllah. The sababa is what? So this one and the middle finger, sah? Let's look at those two. Shafi'iyya and the Hanabila, they believe it's disliked. Al-Mu'tamad fil madhhab al-Shafi'iyya and the Hanabila is that it is disliked for a man to put the ring in what? Those two fingers. Okay? The sababa and the wusta. Hiya? What's this called? These are called, English is thumb, yes, like in Arabic we want it. This is called the ibham. And what's this one called? Bunsur. And it's also called, with a kasr al-ba, you can say al-binsar. You can say it both ways, right? Now we're going to talk about that one. The thumb and this one. Okay? What's the ruling regarding that? It is also permissible to put it in according to the madhab al-Hanabila, because they say that the prohibition that has come is actually only referring to the what? This one and that's it. So they said the rest is allowed. So there's a discussion. These two fingers, is it haram or is it disliked? We mentioned that inshallah ta'ala it's what? It's disliked, to stay away from it. Are you allowed to put it in your left or your right? Or which one is allowed? Left? Left you can, and right you can. Both of them has been transmitted from the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam. Are men allowed to have watches? So men are allowed to have watches. What hand are they allowed to put it in? They can put it in whichever of the two that they want, right? Good. Now we're going to go into inshallah ta'ala surgeries. Okay, surgeries that are done. If the surgery is done for medical reasons, then it's out of the discussion. We're not going to talk about that. Any surgery that is done for medical reasons, inshallah ta'ala, is not our discussion. We're looking at surgery based on what? Beautification. Are we all together, brothers? That's the one we're gonna. So what we divide it into is the surgery that's not medical. We divide it into what? Two. Are we all together? That which is to return a person back to how they used to be. A mother gave birth to a lot of children. She had stretch marks. She wants to go through surgery in order to remove that. That's one. Not medical condition. She's not sick or ill or anything like that. It's not medical condition. It's to remove what the scholars refer to as aib, deficiency. It's a form of a deficiency. There's no medical reason. She didn't break a bone or fracture her arm or this or that. There's no reason. There's no medical reason for it. She's healthy, she's fine, but she just wants to what? The strongest opinion is that she's allowed to do that one. The strongest opinion is that is fine, inshallah ta'ala. The one that is not allowed is she wants to make herself look like what she was never like. Are we all together? She wants to go to and do what? Something that she never was. So she, for example, she wants to do surgery where her lips become bigger. Are we all together? Or a certain part of her body she feels is small, so what she does is she wants to increase the density and the weight and the size, so she goes to medical surgery and she does that to her body. That is not permissible and it's not allowed, and she enters وَلَأُضِلَّنَّهُمْ وَلَأُمَنِّيَنَّهُمْ وَلَآمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلَيُبَتِّكُنَّ آذَانَ الْأَنْعَامِ وَلَآمُرَنَّهُمْ فلا يغيرون خلق الله ومن يتخذ الشيطان وليا من دون الله فقد خسر خسرانا مبينا يعدهم ويمنيهم وما يعدهم الشيطان إلا غرورا ولا يغيرون خلق الله. They're into that, changing the way Allah created you subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are we all together on that? Very good. You can wear braces, inshallah. You're allowed to what? You're allowed to wear braces, inshallah ta'ala, because the asal of the person's teeth is what? It should be straight, right? Are we all together? So that's fine, inshallah ta'ala. There is nothing wrong in that regard, inshallah ta'ala. Anyone have any questions, inshallah?
Back to initial condition, when we are saying generally for age also, aging or anti-aging surgeries people do that also, like back to fall under this category?
No, you shouldn't. You should stay the way that Allah created you.
You know, do their knee length, not knee length, micro needling, or eyebrows. Some say it's not allowed.
Like what do they do?
So micro needling or threading for the eyebrows, or you just like remove them there.
Is it permanently?
Shaping eyebrows.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that.
You're not allowed. Okay. But then what about you mentioned earlier one of the, I think the manual said like women that remove hair from their face.
A woman.
Majority would say it's okay.
Yeah, because the woman should have a beard. Shaykh Albani said if a woman has a beard, she can't take from her beard. Sah? That's a view that the scholars say is wrong, right? Because a woman shouldn't have a beard. But the eyebrows, a woman's not allowed to touch her eyebrows. Even though some of the ulama, they said what is prohibited is what? The removal of the hair. So if she bleaches the hair, for example, she doesn't take the hair, she bleaches it, and then it becomes the skin color of her face, and then after she writes a pen or something on top of it. Are we all together? There are some scholars who said it's not haram because that's not the hadith what it talks about. But the asal is that it's similar to the issue.
What about fake eyelashes?
It falls onto man ghasha falaysa minna. The one who deceives us is not from. It's deception. Yeah, Fadal bin Nahim.
Sheikh, it was regarding the previous topic that we spoke, that when Aisha and the jilbab, he covered the face. Can it touch the face or just keep it?
Yes, you can touch the face.
You can touch the face.
Ay, na'am. And Aisha radiallahu anha, the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, where he said, لا يلبس المحرم قفازين. A woman should not wear, لا تنتقي بالمرأة ولا تلبس القفازين. A woman should not she should not wear niqab or she should not wear gloves, she understood from that the prohibition is restricted to the niqab only and not the face covering. The woman still has to cover her face, even in Hajj and Umrah.
The cloth can touch the face.
Yeah, so what happens is some people in Hajj, what they do is they wear a cap. And then on top of that cap, they wear the khimar. So they think it shouldn't come into contact with their face, and that's not true. That's not the case. They don't have to put themselves through all of that. It can touch their face. There's nothing wrong with it. Does that make sense?
You mentioned regarding the hair loss, you can use the hair from your own body. Okay. Can a person like take it from the beard as well?
Yes, your body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then after that, it's going to be the regrowth of your own hair, right? That's it's going to regenerate. It's going to grow. It's going to come. That's they plant it in your head, so everything comes back to normal. It's not fake hair that's being put on you. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's actually difference in names. I forgot it. Yeah, hair transplant. What's the other one called? The other one's just like a wig.
For the beard transplant, if anyone is not having the beard,
Ah.
and they take some part of their head and put it on the beard.
It's the same ruling. It's the permissibility.
The gold-plated watches, is it allowed?
No, for men, no.
Not fully, but just a percentage.
Yeah, we said it. Even if the gold is very little, it doesn't matter. Gold for men is not. The only circumstance is الذهب اليسير. يعني قول ابن حزم رحمه الله وابن تيمية and حتى الشيخ ابن باز رحمه الله and the fatwa of هيئة كبار العلماء اللجنة دائمة is that it's not allowed. The only time that dhahab is allowed is when it's ضرورة, necessity. Other than necessity, the gold for man, ولو 1% حتى. Gold is not allowed for man.
Regarding the last session, regarding nikah, we consider the face as a place of attraction, the part of attraction. So it should be wajib to cover it, right?
That's one of the...
Then the woman was hiding the hijab due to the age of getting old. She thinks that no need to wear.
Ah.
So there is any age limit for the niqab or it's compulsory.
So there's a hadith of Fatima binti Qais, I think it was, or Fatima binti Sirin. She was a tabi'iyah. What she did was when she grew older, she took her niqab off. And she interpreted that action to be the ayah where Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala said, وَالْقَوَاعِدُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ اللَّاتِي لَا يَرْجُونَ نِكَاحًا فَلَيْسَ عَلَيْهِنَّ جُنَاحٌ أَنْ يَضَعْنَ ثِيَابَهُنَّ غَيْرَ مُتَبَرِّجَاتٍ بِزِينَةٍ. Yani they can remove their beauty. She understood it as the niqab. So when a woman is very old, inshallah ta'ala, she's allowed to take off her niqab based on the ayah. But those who believe that the niqab is not wajib, the ayah says you can remove something. What are they going to remove if the niqab was not wajib to them?
Can a man eat gold? Like there are some coffees or some sweets, they put proper gold.
But is it real gold?
Yes. It's not real gold.
Yeah?
The sweets they're using some silver, but gold.
Gold for gold.
No, no, brothers. Is it real gold? Is that how rich we become? That we eat gold? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان. Yeah?
You cannot wear it with the heat, right?
No. Don't waste gold eating it.
Okay, sure. But what about the gold plated? Like, okay, gold plated buttons and some men wear watches. Gold plated, not gold. It's not actual the metal gold. It's just gold.
It has no gold substance in it.
No, it's gold plated.
There is gold. Electronics plating is gold. It's actually gold. Very small percentage.
Okay, next question. If it's got gold in it, whether it's little, it doesn't matter.
What about contact lenses?
Hey?
A woman must wear contact lenses to please her husband just in the home.
Hey? Is she allowed to wear contact lenses? And it's It's tricky. I've never seen this question before. I won't be able to answer it. I'll look into it. She doesn't need it. It's not glasses, and she doesn't need it for sight. Beautifying herself. But that's the question. Which of the prohibitions can it go under? Because
that changes the color of the eye.
but the husband knows her eyes. She's not deceiving him.
So I believe outside of the home it's not allowed. I'm not correct.
If she covers, what about she covers her eyes?
Yeah, exactly. Just for
I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to look into it, inshallah ta'ala. Habibi.
Regarding the animal clothes, we were not going to wear, but we can use the wallet plus belt for the animal.
Say it again.
Can we use the
Leather for the wallet.
Leather.
leather shoes, wallet?
We said, brothers,
This is animal tan leather.
but it's not animal. Some animals we can have, no problem. We're talking about al-haywan, which is siba'. Yes. Goats and camels and sheep. If it's been tanned, we can benefit from their skin. That's nothing wrong with it. Sah? We're talking about lion skin or tiger skin or fox skins and those stuff. Yeah, crocodiles and things like that. No, crocodile might take another ruling because it's from the animals of the sea. But we're talking about on the earth. So are you saying the leather that we use right now, they're all made from haywan, which is siba, lions and tigers and all of that? Or is it from cows and goats? And yeah, that's fine.
There's some made from alligators.
Alligators, the reason we need to pause from it is because it's haywan, from the animals of the sea. There is a discussion. Are we allowed to eat it? Should we consider it from the haywan on the earth, or should we consider it from the haywan of the sea? Because we know we can eat every animal in the sea, right? Even if it looks like a lion. Sah? Even the animal that dies in the sea we can have, right? The dead animal that we find in the sea, we're allowed to? We're allowed to have. هو الطهور ماء حل ميتته. Like the question here is, the crocodile, where does it fall under? It's another discussion for another time. Yes, please. How long we got till the break? We don't have break, or do we have break?
We have, because at 10 o'clock will be.
Okay, so let's take some of the sisters' questions, inshallah ta'ala.
Shall I read?
Someone said, I want explanation of Sheikh Albani's view on gold for women. Sheikh Albani used to have an opinion that women cannot wear gold. Rahimahullah ta'ala. Another opinion of his. Was that gold with a condition, or was it not? Some places you see him with a condition, and some places you don't see. It's what they call حكم الذهب المحلق. And he was very harsh on that view, rahimahullah ta'ala, which the scholars of his time responded to. The scholars of his time, they responded to him in high quantity. And again, it's from those issues which the Shaykh, may Allah bestow his never-ending mercy onto, he did not get it right. Women are allowed to wear gold with no condition connected to it. Full stop. Because Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala permitted it for them. And so much that the person brought the evidence of the hadith of Fatima radiallahu anha, whoever would like to put a ring of fire on his beloved, let him put on a ring of gold. And whoever would like to put a necklace of fire on his beloved, let him put it on him, a necklace of gold. And whoever would like to put a bracelet of fire. Shaykh Albani saw this hadith as the evidences of his what? Of his argument. Are we all together, brothers? But a large quantity of scholars, they took this as men are not allowed to wear gold and women are allowed to. So people with scalp condition, and they mention the condition, find it difficult to maintain their hair because of heat and sweat worsen these conditions. Are these men or women allowed to shave it? If a woman's shaving it because of a medical condition and it's going to cause her harm, then la shakka wa la rayb, it's permissible. Remember, it's a necessity. It falls under necessity. Naam. It falls under necessity. Hey, Habibi.
You go to a mosque and someone's praying in front of you, and they have a picture, haram picture behind the shirt. So what do you do?
In the beginning, you shouldn't have been looking up in the first place.
No, once you finish your prayer, and then when we finished and we saw the guy in front of me had a picture, then what I prayed.
Just like if a woman came in front of you, what would you do? If a woman was walking in front of you, what would you do? You would lower your gaze, right? You just lower your gaze. And if it's somebody you feel like you can approach and you can talk to, it'll be nice to advise them in a nice, sensible way to tell them the dangers of what they are wearing, and that they shouldn't have these clothes.
Sometimes the Iqamah is going on, and you find someone now, you cannot tell the guy to go right or you go right.
Lower your gaze, inshallah ta'ala, and when you leave, don't look back. Inshallah. Faddal.
What's the view on a woman getting implants without silicone, like from her own body?
Yeah, we said you're allowed to have hair transplant, you mean, right?
No, I'm talking about a woman, like put some part of her fat somewhere else instead of silicone. It's from her own body.
Skin grafting.
Huh?
Skin grafting.
Not skin grafting, exactly. It's taking your own fat from your own body, putting it somewhere else.
The scholars, they put that under the type of jiraha, which is you're not taking yourself back to the way that you were. For example, if a woman breastfed and after breastfeeding, she feels like her body is changed, so now she wants to bring it back to how it was before the breastfeeding. A large amount of scholars, they say this is permissible because she's bringing back herself to her normal form. Araftum? This is nothing wrong with it. Or she has gained stretch marks and she wants to go through surgery, that's fine. But if a woman wants to take some part of her body to another part of her body that never had this, then this is not shar'an permissible. This is changing on the way Allah created us, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
A question I wanted to ask, if someone they were trying to lose weight, and before they do that, they went to have a surgery and have a surgery on their stomach to make it smaller, so then they lose weight afterwards. Is that something permissible?
It has consequences, that's the thing. From a medical perspective, if you liposuction,
No, liposuction is when they come the fat. But there's another surgery where they do a surgery on the stomach and they actually cut it and make it small. I don't know what the name of it.
There's another one called icing. What's it called? They freeze your fat.
Yeah.
And they melt it, something like that. What's it called?
This other one is a surgery. Is this called bypass or something like that?
Why can't you go to the gym like that? Why can't that person go to the gym?
I don't know. Some people do because maybe they overset limits and then they find it easy to go through surgery and then go to the gym.
No, I don't think you've got another option. It's not good for your health and your body. And remember, one of the conditions we mentioned was what? ولا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة وأحسنوا إن الله يحب المحسنين. لا ضرر ولا ضرار. These have very high risks on your body. You can't beautify yourself to cause yourself harm.
Surgery to go back to their
Original form.
okay. So both of set out in that way because let's say the girl gets old, as she gets older, the skin gets looser. So they apply some injection
So
to make the skin lighter. That's it out. And secondly,
Botox, how does it work again?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
so they apply some sort of inject some sort of liquid or something that allows you to tighten the skin.
Let me look into that more so that I can give a better answer regarding it.
And then following up with that is after post-birth, the doctor suggests to tighten do surgery and set it the part, which allows to also heal much faster.
I think where do they tighten?
So after she gives birth, in the same area.
Okay, from where she gave birth from.
Yeah.
Correct.
So of course there's two reasons. One is for and the second is to heal much faster. Because the surgery technique allows you to heal faster with the back in shape.
Those two, I'll look into it, inshallah. Good questions. We'll have a quick break, inshallah ta'ala, and after the break, we'll take more questions, inshallah. I'll carry on a few more other points, inshallah ta'ala.
Brothers, just a 10-minute break because we have to finish by 10, and there will be some questions at the end, like Jeff will be asking, from the session today, inshallah. We'll be having some small games as well. So you can have a quick break.
the colors of clothing. Okay, the colors of clothing. Are we allowed to wear black clothing? لبس الثوب الأسود للرجال والنساء, men and women. Women we know, men, are we allowed to wear it? Yes, we are allowed to, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? Some of the scholars, they give a condition. In some lands, wearing that black, it signifies a group of people, right? So at those times, it's best to avoid it. Okay? Number 2.
Now wearing winter clothes in summer or summer clothes in winter.
No problem. As long as you're not harming yourself. And as long as it doesn't enter Libaas Shuhra. Number 2. لبس الثوب الأصفر للرجال والنساء. Okay? Asfar is what color? Yellow. Are you allowed to wear it? Yes. You're allowed to wear. What about لبس الثوب الأخضر? Are you allowed to wear green? The third color. Of course you can wear green. There's nothing wrong with it. What about لبس الأحمر? Wearing red? Yeah. The red color, are we allowed to wear it or not? There's a discussion regarding it. Okay? That which seems apparent and knowledge is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that يجوز لبس الأحمر, that it is permissible, inshallah ta'ala. It is the madhab al-malikiyya والشافعية وقول أبي حنيفة رحمه الله, the قول of the Hanabila, اختيار ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi. Okay, many great scholars took that opinion, and a large number of the Salaf held that opinion. That is allowed, yes. We're going to mention the evidence. Give me a second. A large number of scholars held that opinion. Sa'id ibn al-Musayyab believed it's permissible. Sha'bi, al-Nakha'i, Hassan al-Basri, Ali ibn al-Husayn, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. All of them believe the color red is allowed. Are we all together? And if you go to Nail al-Awtar by Imam al-Shawkani, he goes into details regarding this issue. And he says that the red that's not allowed is what? The red which is mixed with al-usfur, saffron, right? He said. And he said the red that's not mixed with saffron, he said that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? And the Prophet ﷺ wore red. If you go to the Shama'il al-Muhammadiyah by Imam al-Tirmidhi, you will take in those narrations, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مربوعا وقد رأيته في حلة حمراء. البراء ibn Azib, he said, I saw the Prophet ﷺ wearing a red cloak. ما رأيت أشد أحسن ما رأيت شيئا أحسن منه. I never saw anyone more beautiful than him. We're going to come to al-Muza'far. Al-Muza'far is saffron. You know saffron? It looks like the clothing that the Hindus wear. You see the Hindus and the monks, Chinese monks. Yes, sort of orange. The next one is lubsul ahmar for the women. Are women allowed to? Are they allowed to wear red? They're also allowed to wear red by consensus. There's no difference of opinion in that. Are you allowed to wear clothing that has like lines and all through it? It's permissible, but avoid it when you're in the salah, okay? Salah time, don't wear clothing that has what? Lines and stripes, and because what it does, it distracts you in the salah. It takes away your khushu'. And if it doesn't do it to you, then it'll do it to somebody else's salah. So it's best not to do it at that time. Okay, brothers? So the red that we said that's mentioned, that is prohibited, that was the explanation that he gave Al-Imam Al-Shawkani rahimahullah, that it is al-mamnu'u minhu huwa al-ahmaru alladhi subiga bil-usfuri, he says, wal-mubahu huwa al-ahmaru alladhi lam yusbagh bihi. He mentions this in the sharh of his kitab Ad-Durar al-Bahiyya fi al-Masail al-Fiqhiyya. It's called Ad-Darari al-Mudiyya, صح? Ad-Darari al-Mudiyya. Shawkani has a sharh on his kitab in fiqh. So he explains it there, rahimahullah. He also says in his Nail al-Awtar, فَالْوَاجِبُ الْبَقَاءُ عَلَى الْبَرَاءَةِ الْأَصْلِيَةِ. The asl is that you keep the matter at its default position. The asl is that any color is allowed, right? And any type of clothing is allowed. هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا. Allah has allowed for you everything on this earth. Then anyone who wants to take it out from al-bara'atul asliya. Al-bara'atul asliya is what the usuliyin call biqa' ma kana ala ma kan. It's to leave the issue as it is. Yani al-istishab, right? To keep it at its default position. For example, if two people are discussing a matter, it's always to say, first of all, do we agree that its default position is that clothing and color are allowed? And he says yes. Any color that somebody says is haram, and anyone who says this type of clothing is haram, they are burdened to do what? The burden of proof is upon that person. Does that make sense? So Shawkani argues there in great details regarding that color, inshallah ta'ala. Someone asked me a question before about Imam Sheikh Albani. Who was it? The question of Sheikh Albani. Hey, what was the question?
The gold ornaments which are round and distant.
So the question you asked me was Sheikh Al-Albani, who said the hadith that he mentioned that anyone who wants to place on his beloved person or the person he loves, a garment, a cloak, a ring from the hellfire or a bracelet from the hellfire, then let him put a ring or a bracelet. A large quantity of scholars weaken the hadith. And in terms of authentication, there is a niqash. There's a lot of this debate on it whether it's authentic or not. Does that make sense? That's one. The second argument that the scholars bring against the hadith of Shaykh Nasir rahimahullah ta'ala is it goes against the ijma' of the ummah. 4 great scholars transmitted ijma': Ibn Hazm, Nawawi, Ibn Qudama, and Ibn al-Mundhir. So they said that the ijma' abrogated this claim of Shaykh Nasir rahimahullah's hadith. If we say that hadith is authentic, right? Yani ijma' cannot abrogate something, brothers. So we will together. Yani the qa'idah is al-ijma'u la yansakh wa la yunsakh. صح? An ijma' cannot abrogate, nor can it be abrogated. But the ijma' it falls back on what? A dalil, a nas. That nas is what abrogated it. Are we all together? And it's a very strange opinion, very strange in Islamic history. It's a very strange opinion Shaykh Nasir held. He held there, rahimahullah ta'ala. Now, I'm more than happy to take this questions, inshallah ta'ala. I think the bulk of what we wanted to do today, we managed to do, alhamdulillah. Yeah? Awrah regarding the salah. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, a man should not, لا يصلين أحدكم. The Prophet said, one of you should not pray. ليس على عاتقه شيء. And you don't have a cloak and something on your shoulders. So the man has to have something on his shoulders when he's praying the salah. We already mentioned awratul rajul is what? ما بين السرة والركبة. And we proved that when we said ما بين السرة والركبة, we mentioned that the rukbah and the surah are not part of the awrah. We mentioned that, right?
Sheikh, what's the difference between awratul nadar and awratul salah?
Awratul nadar is what we mentioned right now. It's the awrah now, ما بين السرة والركبة. Awratul salah is the shoulders.
You have to cover the shoulder.
Cover the shoulders. You have to put something on your shoulders when you're praying the salah. Like in awratul nadar is different, which is when you leave this, all you just have to cover is those 2 parts. Let's take, yeah, of course, some questions from the sisters, inshallah ta'ala. Should I read? This is the first one. Yeah, I want to, so, okay, hi. So someone asked, do not beautify with something haram. Are the cosmetic products that contains animal fats, Are they not allowed to use? Are they not allowed to be used? Pig fat in particular. You see, there's something in Islam. If that substance used certain things, but in the process it fully went. Are we all together? In the process, it's no longer, no trace of it is left anymore. It's actually gone. It evaporated through the system, or the process, sorry. Then in that regard, a large number of scholars, they believe that there's nothing wrong with it. But if there's still traces of it still present in it, a person should not use those type of products. Another large quantity of scholars, they say, pig products, they say eating it is haram and not. There's that discussion going on, but it's best to leave it, inshallah ta'ala. Some medicines contain gold. Wow. Today you guys told me some food, some coffee have gold in it. Did you guys know the other day I was sitting with a brother who's an expert in coffee. He told me there's some coffee that go through animal feces. Cat feces. Do you guys know that? Put your hand up if you didn't know that. They use the cat's digestive system. A'udhu billah. Every day you learn something new, right? Did you guys know that? Put your hand up if you didn't know that. Huh? If you didn't know it, put your hand up. Yeah, and the brother said, I like it.
They use horse placenta. Some women use horse placenta, put on their face to beautify and make it more firm.
Okay, can we move on to this one? So can men eat those medicines? Again, if it's necessary, yes, you can. If it's necessity, you're allowed to eat gold. If not, I don't even know how you can eat gold, but it's a question. Are women allowed to wear rings on their toes? But it wouldn't be called a ring, right? Would it be called a ring if it's on your toe? It's called a toe ring. Again, it's not haram, it's permissible. But she has to cover her legs when she's outside, okay? She can wear it, but if she goes out, she can't show her legs, of course. It's already haram for her to show her legs, but of course she can beautify herself with it. I've never heard it before. Huh?
It was days or back in the days, I don't know if it was happening, they used to wear, around
Oh yes, around the ankles. That's نعم. ولا يضربن بأرجلهن ليعلم ما يخفين. It's in the Quran. من زينتهن. Yeah, of course, outside. In the house, she's allowed to wear it. The reason why that is haram is not because the wearing is haram. It's because it attracts men. It makes noise. But if she wears it and it makes no noise, then she can wear it.
also there's some reference to the slaves, with reference to the slaves as well, because they used to be chained.
No. It's referring to the women that are wearing gold bracelets. How can a woman cover her face in Hajj and Umrah? We said she can grab the side of her jilbab and just put it over her face like that. Or she can just take a khimar, and just put it on top of her head. Just throw it on top of her head and it falls over her face. Sah?
When the women they use fairness creams or this sort of creams, so this falls under the category where it is deceiving. The fairness cream for the compact powders and all these things. They fall under deceiving.
As in like for marriage and stuff like that.
Yeah, for marriage or even after marriage for the husband, if fairness creams and all.
No, a woman after marriage, she can wear makeup and everything for her husband if she wants to. And if he wants her to wear it, she wants to wear it and everything, that's fine. But before marriage, the reason why we said it's not right to do that is because it's deception. The brother came to the marriage, wants to marry the sister. When he came to the meeting, she painted her face. So he doesn't know how she really looks like. This is, honestly speaking, I don't consider this makeup anymore. It used to be back in the days. Now it's face painting. Sah, brothers?
Yes.
It's like you see this and you see this. Two different people. So that's not allowed shar'an. And a lot of cases, what's happened is that this has caused people to not want to be with each other. Are we all together, brothers? So, by the way, it's not only restricted to sisters. Brothers do that as well. Brothers do certain things that also give false impression, right? I was asked one time, there was a suit some men wear under their t-shirt, they wear it under their shirts. It's actually muscles, but it's fake. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So they wear that under their shirts. When you look at it, they've got shoulders and they've got biceps, triceps, all the steps. And then when you see it, you think this person is, again, doing it i'tikaf in the gym. But in reality, he's skinny. Is it necessary for men to wear cap or turban inside or outside of salah? No, it's not necessary. Men don't have to wear turban on their head or caps on their head. They don't have to. It's a sunnah. Highly recommended sunnah to cover your hair. Can I? It's a sunnah now. It's very good to cover your hair. But it's not wajib. Like in some cultures, they consider khawarim al-muru'ah. Khawarim al-muru'ah means they consider it as Khawarim al-muru'ah is something that's not haram, but it just people. If I came in today and I was wearing a vest, if I came in, I was wearing a pink vest, is it haram? And I said, Inna alhamdulillahi nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu. You all would find that very khawarim al-muru'ah, sah? Huh? But it's not haram. No one can say it, sah? Sah?
Something that's not the norm.
Sheikh, is it considered libas shuhra? Because nobody wears pink vest.
It falls in that, but it's also khawarim al-muru'ah. So khawarim al-muru'ah are things that are not haram, but it's like, like back in the days, they used to consider khawarim al-muru'ah, yani, eating whilst you're walking. And then Bukhari was very strict on that, so he wouldn't take a hadith from a person who had khawarim al-muru'ah. No. Someone who laughs, ha ha ha, and you see their mouth and everything when they laugh, and they scream when they're laughing. It's khawarim al-muru'ah. Can a woman cover herself with abaya and hijab and niqab, which is 3 pieces of cloth, or should it be just 1 piece of cloth covering from head to toe? No, she can wear all 3. She can have 3 separate, as long as it meets those conditions we met. It's not tight, it's none of that. Inshallah ta'ala, it shouldn't be a problem. It can be 3 pieces, it can be 4 pieces, it doesn't matter. But it should fully cover her body. It should also not be tight. All the conditions we mentioned.
Going to the restroom, is it advisable to cover the head? Is there something like this?
Yeah.
Is like while going to the restroom, to the washroom, to cover the head, there is some dalil or?
No, nothing. Okay, I was going to read these questions, but I think there's no questions. It's just suggestions. I'll take his question and then come to you. Hey.
Sheikh had said that anyone.
I know a lot of you guys use the word sheikh, but I'm not a sheikh. Not in knowledge and also not in age. So, yeah? No, just call me Ustad. Ustad just means teacher. Anyone who teaches people can be called Ustad. So just call me teacher. So teacher is fine.
If anyone has a decision, you should not impose your decision on it. Right?
Opinion, yeah.
I think this brother had that time asked you a question regarding hijab. If a father can impose like hijab or not, and I remember you said no.
I asked regarding
Niqab.
Niqab, sorry. So mine, sorry, I think I just misunderstood that.
There's a big difference.
Yeah, so now, if a father wants to impose for wearing hijab, is it allowed?
Hijab, of course, it's wajib.
You have to impose like on the daughter.
100%.
Because this then point what you said is going to conflict, right?
No, it's not. Because wearing the hijab is wajib. There's no choice. She has no choice. The woman has no choice to.
Then up to this point, you said you should not impose your.
If there's a difference of opinion, whether it's obligatory or not.
At that point,
Valid difference of opinion. That's what I meant. If there is a valid difference of opinion on something, then what do you call it? Don't impose your opinion on others. So I believe the niqab is wajib. But if my daughter says to me, Dad, look, alhamdulillah, I've done the research, I've looked into the mas'ala, وأنا أميل إلى قول الشيخ الألباني. I like the قول الشيخ ناصر رحمه الله تعالى. I won't force her. I mean, it's your choice, Dad.
My sister or the daughter, she wants to do the hijab.
She wants to?
She wants to do the hijab. The niqab.
She wants to do it, yeah.
The niqab. But the husband or the father is of the opinion that it's not
Wajib. He's not allowed to take it off her. It's a big sin if he takes it off her. Because she's doing a sunnah.
He has no right.
No, he believes it's a sunnah. How's he going to stop somebody from a sunnah? You cannot stop somebody from a sunnah.
The husband doesn't have the right over his wife on this sunnah.
If something is sunnah, يعني, husband has no rights to stop the wife. Are we all together? No one has the rights to take away what Allah had permitted, right? Are we all together, brothers? I have a question now. We walk on the pavement, right? Sah? When the lights turn red, the cars have to stop, right? Who gave the rights? Is it wajib for me to have to stop? Can I just drive through? Why can I not?
Because you cause great harm to yourself.
But in the Sharia, I'm allowed to travel on the earth. I can travel where I want.
At that moment, you have to stop, but the traffic light says red.
So how do you reconcile that with Allah allowed me to move wherever I want and I can go wherever I want? By the way, I agree with you guys. You have to stop. But I just want you guys to think with me here. Of course, you have to stop. I stop. I stop when it's Abba. Yeah? Yeah?
Yes.
You're going to harm others. Benefit, write this benefit down. This is one of the greatest benefits you're going to come across. Even the ruler is restricted of what he can or can't allow. Sah?
Yes.
The Sharia doesn't, when Allah sanctions something, it's Allah's rights. So pay attention to this. Of course, you have to stop at the red light. But let's come to this point, and it's important that we understand this. Ahmad Shakir, rahimahullah, pointed this out on the Musnad of Imam Ahmad. He's the muhaqqiq of the kitab. The mubah is two types. Remember, traveling on the earth however I want is what? It's mubah, right? It's not sunnah, it's mubah. Mubah means allowed. Huh? I'm allowed to, right? The mubah is two types. Mubah, which is mansoos. The Sharia states that it's mubah. Are we all together? The Sharia states that this thing is allowed. Specifically says it's allowed. No one has the right to ban that thing that the Sharia stated its permissibility. No one can come and say, for example, no government can say men are not allowed to marry more than more than one wife. The government can never ban that. Because it's what? Because do you guys believe marrying more than one wife is sunnah? Put your hand up if you believe marrying more than one wife is sunnah. Allah barik. This is needed all the brothers. Allah barik, mashallah. Yeah. I don't believe it's sunnah. I believe it's just mubah. It's not a sunnah. It's what? The asl hukum is what? It's mubah. But it's mubah which is mansoos. Mubah which is mansoos. So no government or no system can say no to that. The second type of ibaha is ibah which is ghayru mansoos. It's the text. The Sharia didn't specifically mention it. But it's from the things that the Sharia went silent about, and we know whatever Sharia is silent about is what? ما نهيتكم عنه فاجتنبوه وما أمرتكم به فأتوا منه ما استطعتم فإنما أهلك الذين من قبلكم كثرة مسائلهم واختلافهم على أنبيائهم. The Sharia, whatever it permitted, we can come with. Whatever it prohibited us from, we stay away from. As for وما سكت عنه whatever Allah is silent of what? It also falls under mubah. Whatever Allah is silent, didn't mention it, but he didn't say anything about it. We would put it under the category of what? The mubah. This one, a government, a system, they can ban these things based on the masalih and the mafasid. Are we all together? And walking on the road, it falls under that type of ibaha, right? Which is ghayru mansoos, right? The ibaha which is ghayru mansoos. So the government can say you walk on this side of the road and you can't walk on that side of the road. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? That light, when it turns red, you have to stop. That light, when it turns green, they have the rights, because now it's the benefit and the harm. Are we all together? Or else we'll have accidents. The speed limit, they can put it onto a number. This is open for them. They're allowed to do that. Sah?
The niqab, you say that a woman is fully
Dawrah, yeah.
Dawrah.
Yeah.
What about the eye?
Good question. Sahih. So he asked a good question, the brother. He said, you mentioned a hadith before. You said, al-mar'atu kulluha awrah, that the woman in her entirety, she's a what? Are we all together? The woman in her entirety, she's a what? So why don't you tell the woman to cover her eyes? Is the eyes not part of it? Hatta Shaykh Al-Bani, this is the argument he used as well. He said, you guys said that the woman, she has to cover her face. Because the other scholars, they said she has to cover her face. Because all the scholars agree that woman has to cover her legs, right?
Yes.
But what is more fitna? The face or the legs?
Face.
Yeah? The face is more fitna. How is the Sharia going to say, cover your legs, which is less fitna, than the what? There was a lecture I was doing one time. I said the same question. I said, the leg or the face, which was more fitna? A group screamed. They said, the legs. I said, whoa. Are we together, brothers? That shows you, subhanAllah, how things change, subhanAllah. And the fitrah changes over time. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. But anyways, the woman's leg she has to cover her legs, right? She has to cover her legs. And the face, they said, how is it possible? The thing that has more fitna, we're not going to be told to cover it. Shaykh Al-Bani said, okay, I'll take that concept from you guys. From her face, which one is the most fitna? The eyes. And you guys are saying that she doesn't have to cover her eyes. And the eyes is the biggest fitna, sah? Does he have a point? Yeah. Does he have a point? He has a point. So I don't know how to answer that question. But I know it's wajib, the woman has to cover her face. Yeah?
There is a hadith in Sahih Bukhari. Says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم
صلى الله عليه وسلم.
المتشبع بما لم يعطى كلابس ثوب زور.
صح.
May you please explain it?
This hadith means the person who pretends to be what he isn't. And he fills himself up that which he is not. كلابس ثوب زور. It's like a person who's wearing, like women who are not tall, they wear high heels, and then when you look, you think she's very tall. She's pretending to be what she's not. Or a man, as I mentioned before, who wears this under his shirt, which makes it look like he's got big biceps and big muscles, but in reality he has nothing. Haba'an manthura. And so then it gives false impression to the people. That's what the hadith is talking about. Mm-hmm.
They're using perfume which has alcohol.
Perfume that have alcohol, I believe it's permissible. And the sanitizer and all of that. You know why? Because that alcohol, if you drank it so much, it will never intoxicate you. And the hadith says, مَا أَسْكَرَ قَلِيلُ فَكَثِيرُهُ. So it's wherever, if you take a lot of it, the little becomes haram, right?
Yes.
But then this one, if you take it, you will die before you even intoxicate. Sah? You will never be intoxicated, you will just die from it. Does that make sense? So it will never intoxicate you. It's not an alcohol that intoxicates. Sah? It's the alcohol that's prohibited is that the alcohol, if you take a lot of quantity of it, it will intoxicate you. So the little is haram, right? This one, if I take a lot of quantity, will it intoxicate me? So it's not haram.
Perfume with alcohol?
Very good. No, very good. There's nothing wrong with it. It smells very nice.
Check regarding the boats which have cartoons on it, like for the kids, the infants. Most of the clothes you can buy they have the cartoons on it, or small animals like animated animals.
Those things you should avoid. You should avoid those things. Sometimes, subhanAllah, people wear clothing, like in Muslim countries and some countries back home that don't speak English properly and English isn't their first language, that you see a boy that has a t-shirt on it. I even saw it the other day. On it was "Kiss Me," and it was a t-shirt. So it's like, why would you wear like a t-shirt? You don't know what it says on there. Sometimes it says bad things on it. Does that make sense? And he doesn't even know what he's got and his t-shirt is carrying, what it actually says. So these are also things which are haram and you need to stay away from. Also now, rainbow colors are not allowed, right?
Yes.
Are you allowed to wear rainbow t-shirts? No. It's become known for a group of people, right? Yeah. You're not allowed to have those colors anymore. You wanted to ask Ibrahim a question? Somebody asked a good question. يا بني آدم قد أنزلنا عليكم لباسا يواري سوآتكم وريشا ولباس التقوى ذلك خير. What does it mean, لباس التقوى? لباس التقوى, we mentioned, is that when we divided the libas, we divided it into how many? We divided it into two. We said there's a libas which is ظاهر, and there's a libas which is batin. And the libas which is taqwa, brothers and sisters, is the greatest form. That's why the ayah says, وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ. By the way, every time you see the word khair, it's a superlative. It's a sighatul mubalagha. It comes from the word akhyar. Does that make sense? And the alif or the hamza was dropped because of the kathratul isti'mal. But it's actually akhyar. Shar, ashar. Are we all together, brothers? Khair, akhyar, that's how it actually is. So it means the best. صح? ذلك خير أي ذلك أخير لهم. That's more better for them. Taqwa, brothers and sisters, there are two quotes or references that have been given regarding taqwa. One is the qawl of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said, التقوى الخوف من الجليل والعمل بالتنزيل والرضا بالقليل واستعداد اليوم الرحيل. Ali ibn Abi Talib gave a very nice comprehensive definition of what a taqwa is. He said taqwa is four things. He said al-khawfu min al-jalil is to be scared of who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wal-amalu bit-tanzil is to act upon the what? So every time we hear the word tanzil, wahi, what does it mean? The Quran and the poet said, فَسُنَّةُ النَّبِيِّ وَحْيٌ ثَانٍ عَلَيْهِمَا قَدْ أُطْلِقَ الْوَحْيَانِ وَإِنَّمَا طَرِيقُهَا الرِّوَايَةِ فَافْتَقَرَ الرَّاوِي إِلَى الدِّرَايَةِ بصحة المروي عن رسول ليعلم المردود من مقبول لا سيما عند التظاهر الفتن ولبس إفك المحدثين بالسنن فقام عند ذلك الأئمة بخدمة الدين ونصح الأمة فميزوا صحيحها من مفترى حتى صفت نقية كما ترى. So وما ينطق عن الهوى إن هو إلا وحي يوحى. إذن the عمل بالتنزيل means acting upon the Quran and the Sunnah, both of them. Have to act upon what? Both of them. الخوف من الجليل والعمل بالتنزيل والرضا, to be pleased with what? والرضا بالقليل, to be happy and content with the little Allah has given you and whatever Allah has given you. القناعة. Are we all together? This concept of contentment is gone. The world today, more. Yeah? صح؟ القناعة ارضي بما قسم الله لك تكن أغنى الناس. صح? Be happy with what Allah has given you. You'll be the richest of people. That has gone. We're watching social media, we see somebody with some certain lifestyle and we want everything we see online. We're not happy with what we have. So, ارضي بما قسم الله لك تكن أغنى الناس. Do you want to be the richest person on this earth? Be content. Don't look at other people, what's in their hands. انظر إلى من هو أسفل منك. Look at the person who's lower than you that doesn't have many things. ولا تنظر إلى من هو. Don't look at the one who's higher and above you when it comes to the dunya. Are we all together? والرضا بالقليل واستعداد اليوم الرحيل. To prepare for what day? The day where you stand in front of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. If you look at the word, the day of judgment, when Allah talks about it, subhanahu wa ta'ala, He talks about it as though it's what? It's a big day. يوم يقوم الناس لرب العالمين. The day that the people are going to stand in front of who? That day is what? Allah refers to it subhanahu wa ta'ala. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء. It's not sah. And is it very close? واستعداد اليوم الرحيل. Some people think it's qiyamah. That's what they keep saying to you. Prepare for the day of judgment. No, it's not. It's prepare for your death. لأن من مات قامت قيامته. The person who dies, his qiyamah has already started. Sahih? Allah tells us in the Quran that the qiyamah is not far. إنهم يرونه بعيدا ونراه أزفة ليس لها من دون الله كاشفة. ولذلك the hadith الإمام الطبراني narrated in his معجم بسند صحيح. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? بعثت أنا والساعة هاتين. فقرن بين الصبابة والوسطى. He took the two fingers and he did it like this. And he said, me and the day of judgment are what? So, taqwa, based on the person's question, taqwa, that's what it means. And inshallah, I ask Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala to make us from the muttaqeen. Because if you look at the Quran, the position that is mentioned for the people of taqwa is profound. Allah tells us about them when it comes to Jannah. تِلْكَ الْجَنَّةُ الَّتِي نُورِثُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا مَنْ كَانَ تَقِيًّا. They're the ones that are going to be Jannah. In the same surah, what does Allah say? وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا كَانَ عَلَى رَبِّكَ حَتْمًا مَقَضِيًّا ثُمَّ نُنَجِّي الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا وَنَذَرُ الظَّالِمِينَ فِيهَا جِثِيًّا. Everyone is going to go over the sirat. And who are the ones who are going to be saved? The people of at-taqwa. So inshallah ta'ala. Tfaddal.
Very weak for a cancer patient who lost all hairs in the young age. Is it permissible? Very weak for a cancer patient who lost all the hair in the young age. Is it permissible?
I don't know, honestly. It's a good question, but I don't know. Allahu Alam. Can the beard be braided or men's hair be braided? The men can braid their head. There's no problem with that. A man can braid his hair, no problem. It's just when salah time comes, he should what? Inshallah, open it up. But you're allowed to braid your hair, okay?
And the beard?
The beard, no. The beard, the Prophet ﷺ saw a man where he took both of his beard and he tied it up like this. So the Prophet commanded him to open it because this is the beard of the what? The tyrants and the jababirah. Is it recommended for women to stay at home and not leave the house unless it's emergency? Highly yes. Allah says, وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى وَأَطِعْنَ اللَّهَ وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى وَأَقِمْنَ الصَّلَاةَ وَآتِينَ الزَّكَاةَ وَأَطِعْنَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجز أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. So the ayah says what? وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ. Allah says to the women, stay in your houses. Some of the scholars, they took from the ayah that it's wajib. And a lot of scholars, they took from it that it's what? That a woman should try, and highly recommended for the woman to stay at home. Someone asked a very good question. They asked, and they said, there's some abayas that start from your shoulders and it go down, and there's like a little khimar, okay, which you put around your head. This is not considered a jilbab. That's maybe something you can wear at home, maybe. Like, that's not considered a hijab. In Islam, that's not a hijab. Why? Because that doesn't cover the woman's chest. Are we all together? It doesn't the blossoms of the woman is not covered. So it's not permissible for a woman to wear that. She has to wear two types of jilbab that I know you can wear. Are we all together? One is the one that the hands come out. Have you guys seen that? Yeah, and you're wearing it, but your hands come out. That's one. And that's good. The one I like the most, that's closest to the sunnah, is the one that starts from the top and it just goes down. Are we all together? It just fully goes down. It doesn't stop. The hands are actually in. Does that make sense? And then the woman wears a abaya on top. Yeah? Have you guys all seen that one? Yeah? That's the best one. Because that is more closer to the ayah. يا أيها النبي قل لأزواجك وبناتك ونساء المؤمنين يدنين عليهن من جلابيبهن ذلك أدنى أن يعرفن فلا يؤذين وكان الله غفورا رحيما. That is more closer to the verse. Because the idna means to start from the top and just go down. Whereas the one that, and it starts from the top and then hands come out, and it's mashallah, it's a jilbab, but it still stops somewhere, right? Yeah.
I wanted to ask you that a question about surgery. If someone had excess skin and they lost a lot of weight and they have like excess skin, is it permissible? Is it okay for them to remove it?
I'm more inclined to saying that's permissible, inshallah ta'ala, that is allowed. Hi, please ask her.
Orange color wearing allowed?
The orange is nowadays, color orange is very it's a lot of shades of orange. But anyone that looks like those monks and the Hindus that they wear, those ones you should avoid, inshallah. Fadal. Yeah, you.
Yeah, the ladies while praying, their feet should be covered.
Yes. Yes, the legs of the women should be covered. They should.
The face?
The face? No, a woman should not cover her face when she's praying. Salah? The Prophet said in the hadith, إن المرأة إذا بلغت الحيض يعني لا يقبل الله صلاة الحائض إلا بخمار. The khimar just means other than the face. The khimar doesn't cover the face. This one. Yeah, sunnah. I'm going to wear it now. Sunnah to wear, inshallah.
For example, if you go to a far country and you want to wear the cloak, but there's a risk of Islamophobia. From another angle, you mentioned you stand out in front of the people.
I know.
Is it better to avoid wearing it?
It could be sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
It is sunnah to wear the cloak. So,
looking like the Muslims is better than looking like the non-Muslims. And what the Prophet would wear today is not the same as what we're wearing right now. So no, I wouldn't say this is a sunnah. But if I have to choose between wearing the monkey suit, I call it the monkey suit, the tie and the blazer, I do not like it. It's permissible, by the way. There's no haram. Yeah, the tie. Yeah, it's allowed. You're allowed to wear the tie. You're allowed to wear the monkey suit. You can wear it all. Nothing wrong with it. I don't know. But you're allowed to. It's fine. You can wear it, no problem. There's nothing to prove that it's haram.
Some people say that I want to blend with my community and make da'wah to them.
Yes.
So he used this as evidence, so he can trim his beard, make it shorter.
No, some things you can't do shar'an if it's haram. Wherever the Sharia allowed you, like for example, if you say, I'm going to wear a suit to give da'wah to my people, I'm not going to wear a thobe, I understand, that's fine, that's good. Because it's halal, you can do that if you want to. Someone says, I avoid traveling with thobes because it's causing me problem in the airports and stuff like that. I don't want to be pulled to the side. That's fine, there's nothing wrong with it. I can to say I'm going to do something haram so I can guide the people. I've actually seen the opposite to be true. People with big beards, people approach them and say, hi, Is it Halloween? No, this is my religion. Oh, what religion are you? I'm Muslim. And then the discussion starts and then Allah guides them. I remember one time there was it's sad. Allah has never gifted me to give da'wah to somebody and then they came into Islam on my hands. It's never happened. Every time people have taken Islam, I was brought to the person and I just took the shahada from them. But I've never worked on someone and given da'wah to them where Allahumma barik, I've brought them to Islam. It's never happened. Make dua for me. Allah gives me that, subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there was a brother who came to two different individuals. One was very liberal, very soft. He was like, everything he asked, yeah, there is difference of opinion. Fihi qawlan, everything fihi qawlan. Yeah? Did you guys hear the story of the man who everything they ask him, he said fihi qawlan, and they said to him, afillahi shakkun. He said fihi qawlan. Did you hear that? The scholars mention that. Everything he says fihi qawlan. Because that's what he thought. If you want to be a scholar, you will never be caught if you keep saying fihi qawlan, you will never be caught out. So there's a brother like that. Everything fihi qawlan. So this non-Muslim said, look, with all due respect, I don't believe Christianity is true. I'm not looking for freedom and to follow your desires. I'm looking for someone to tell me. So he went to another speaker or another individual, and this brother was said, La yajuz, haram, kabir min kaba'ir dhunub. And he said, this is what I've been looking for, man. You see? So some people are looking for rules and regulations. They want to hear, it's allowed, it's not allowed. No.
This question I wanted to ask, it might not relate with the topic, but you mentioned there was ayah that Allah said that the women are told to stay at home and to, But if a certain woman, like, for example, like they practicing, but then they are feminists and they have these opinions and all that stuff, like they take whatever they want to take. Would a man allow to then just leave her, or the ruling be?
Feminism, to be honest, right now, if we take that word, feminism is anti-Islam. Feminism is disbelief. The kind of principles that they have. That's why I say to some people, some females who say, I'm a feminist, and I ask them, what do you mean by feminist? And she means, I'm trying to get women their rights according to the Quran and the Sunnah. I say, avoid the word feminist then. And if you're trying to get the women their right from the Quran and the Sunnah, you don't need to give yourself feminism. Just say, I'm reviving the concept of the meaning of the Quran. I'm trying to bring back what the Quran actually said. That's fine, no problem with that. But feminism, reality is what? Kufrun billahi al-ali al-azim. There's no way around it. It is al-juhud, it's stubbornness, it's hard-headedness. It's to fight against the Quran and the Sunnah. It is to go against what we mentioned in the shuruط la ilaha illallah. العلم واليقين والقبول والانقياد فدري ما أقول والصدق والإخلاص والمحبة وفقك الله لما أحب. It goes against al-inqiyad. Submission. They don't want to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are we all together? They don't want to submit to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. A lot of the feminists, they believe Nabi Muhammad. Why do I need to take a man's statement? Kufriyat. Are we all together, brothers? So if we have to tackle these issues, we tackle it from the issue of al-inqiyad. Do you agree that you're a slave of Allah? Yes. Hey, submit. Follow the what? The Quran and the Sunnah.
Like some people say, like they might be jahil about feminism and stuff like that, but if they jahil, they don't fall into kufr, right? But
I'm not saying they're kafir. I'm saying feminism is kufr.
Yeah, feminism is kufr. But if they know about it and they've been told, and this is just what it is,
they can leave the fold of Islam because of it. Yeah, it's that dangerous. Yeah. Some of them, what comes out of their mouth is what? Kufriyat. somebody sent me a message. One of them, she said, I don't, يعني, غريب. She goes, I do not consider Nabiullah Muhammad a source of يعني, reference in the Medini period. I like to only take, and I only like to think about him when he was married to Khadija. Yeah. Another one said, one of the famous guys became Muslim. And then when he became Muslim, one said, if he becomes a Muslim, I'm leaving Islam. The minute you said that, you left Islam. That minute you said that statement, kafarta billah. It doesn't have to even reach the time of what? When him coming into Islam. The minute you even considered to leave Islam because of something, the ulama bi-ijma' Qadi Iyad al-Yahsu bi-Banshaz in his Kitab al-Shifa, you left Islam then. Does that make sense? So it's like, why this? But there's another thing I want to say to brothers as well. It's not, I want to tell you guys the honest truth, brothers. And I'm putting myself into this as well. Feminism can only exist at a time when men are weak. We don't see real men. Are we all together, brothers? Real men are the ones Allah mentioned. من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا. You, as a man, you're not even following the religion properly. صح؟ في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه يسبح له فيها بالغدو والآصال رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة يخافون يوما تتقلب فيه القلوب والأبصار ليجزيهم الله أحسن ما عملوا ويزيدهم من فضله والله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. الآية صح؟ يعني you're not connected to the Quran or the Sunnah, you're distant from it. ولذلك one time a family member of mine, a female family member of mine, had a very good conversation with me, and I was very amazed with the points that she brought up. MashaAllah, she's not a feminist, Allahumma barik, she follows the Quran and the Sunnah. She said, Rahman, do you not understand where some of these girls are coming from? She said, I disagree with them. I believe, well, yes, you're right, the statements is crazy. But don't you see any element of truth to some of the things that they're saying? I said, what, like example? She said, when you say to them, for example, that you have to obey your husband. She's looking at her father, who's never been part of her life. She looks at her brother, who's on the streets, he's not educated, he has no qualification, he's basically what we would call waste of space. So when she thinks of these verses, she thinks that it applies on these type of people. Does that make sense? So they reject it on those grounds. Are we all together, brothers? Yes. So we as men, I put myself into the equation as well. We're not the men that the Quran is talking about. We're not that men, are we? Spiritually, are we those type of men that the Quran is describing? Some of you are quiet, like, yeah, I'm one of those men. The reality of the matter is that, so that's basically causing the absence of men and real men who hold on to the deen, who Allah and what He says is the final say in their life. At a time like that, I feel that going causes the rise of this. Sah, brothers. You're finding brothers who go to, what's it called, nail polishing places. They polish their nails and they live on, what do you call it, lavish life. And if the air conditioner one day stops working in their room, they start crying and saying, I can't live here, I need to go back to where I came from. Can't seek knowledge for a few weeks in another country. I need the rujula is there, it's not there, right? You sit with a brother and you say, hey, akhi, what is it? Akhi, my life is finished, I don't know, I'm depressed. And akhi, It's a lot of da'f, basically. A lot of what? There's a lot of weakness there. And when you look at that weakness, look at Osama ibn Zayd. Sometimes I think about it. He has the biggest army. After Nabi Muhammad died, he's going to fight the Romans. Sah? And do you know how old he was?
16.
Some of the narrations mention he was 15. What are 15-year-olds doing? Huh? Where are 15-year-olds? Yeah? That you all know, right? You ask yourself, you say, Ajib. Some of the ulama, there's a kitab called Al-Ulama alladhina lam yablughu sin al-ashud. It's scholars who haven't reached like old age. They died at 40 below. Ulama. You know Imam Sibawayh, the great scholar of the Arabic language. You all heard of him, right? Sibawayh. He was 38 when he died. The father of grammar. Are we all together? Yani, the quality that these people had when it came to seeking knowledge, determination, drive, will, mind power, everything. Are we all together? Yani, a brother's married, he's got a wife, he's got kids. A little calamity hits. The wife has to go out of her way and fix everything. He's sat crying there, I don't know what to do, I'm confused. He's put his hand on his head. Wariyah. Allah has made you subhanahu wa ta'ala what? So this is what the sister looks at that, and it's a time of calamity, and you're sitting there crying. And she's looking and she's like, I'm not crying, we need to get things done. And then you say to her, الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض. She's going to be, I don't understand this. Do you understand, brothers? And this is true. Wallahi, I'm being honest with you, brothers. Like, brothers have to also look at themselves and not just point the fingers at the girls. Have to internalize themselves and evaluate themselves. And I promise you, wallahi, things will get in good shape if we as men, sah brothers, how many of us pray 5 times a day in the masjid? Allahumma barik. We're that weak. In the front line. Does that make sense? 40 years. Some of the Salaf, they said, Takbiratul Ihram, Allahu Akbar wasn't done, I was there. Sah? Yani those type of people, was the ayah talking about Rijalu? Qawwamuna ala nisa. Sah? What I mean is that we as men are very, very weak. Very weak. So this is what's causing the feminist mindset to really grow. It's festing into this vacuum of men. So that's why I see where they're coming from in that regard. But not all the kufriyat they have to say after that. Does that make sense? But the father is not there looking after his children. He's not nurturing them. He's on the phone. He's out and about. He's texting. The mother she's bringing the money in the house. She's running everything. And then it's a mushkila, wallahi. Allah protect us subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm hoping this side of the world that this problem is not here. But in the West, the rise of single mothers who are raising the children by themselves. And the man has just given her 5 kids, 6 kids. And he's out and about, just chilling and making phone calls and then saying, I want to marry a second wife. And he's forsaken the first family. He's forsaken his children and everything is a waste. Yani, it's a big problem, wallahi. Honestly. It's a deep-rooted issue. So I think on both sides, there has to be... I remember in the UK, I'll tell you a story. I was in the UK and there was an invitation that happened. We got invited basically it was an invitation. The youngsters were to talk to their parents. It was an opportunity to give the youngsters and the youth to once and for all sit with their parents and tell them what they feel. Are we all together? And why they are different to their parents. It was just open that. So inshallah ta'ala, things can be... Not one father came. The invitation was open for everybody. Who came? Are we all together? Parents even in schools. Yani the child's school grades, the date of birth of the child and when he was born, Allahul Musta'an, the child's appointments and everything. The mother is doing it by herself, single-handedly. In the Western countries, a lot of. So then, for her, when you say to her, Rijalu, she's looking in this vacuum. She's looking at this and saying, this doesn't make sense to me. Does that make sense? So I feel like we need to point the fingers at ourselves and evaluate our situation as well. Because we're all going to be, yeah?
Yeah, introspection.
Of course. We're all going to stand in front of Allah Yawm al-Qiyamah. And I'm going to be questioned for my own actions, and you're going to be questioned for your own actions, and that girl's going to be questioned for her actions, and that man is going. Everybody's going to be questioned. So we have to ask ourselves: are we taking the right route, the right path, the right? May Allah forgive us for all the shortcomings and errors and mistakes that we've come with. Wallahi, we're very short on the obligations of our Lord Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم اغفر لنا هزلنا وجدنا وخطأنا وعمدنا وكل ذلك عندنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم لا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا ولا تسلط علينا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك فينا ولا يرحمنا. رب آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Three questions. We have to ask them. Whoever answers will give the gifts. So 3 questions for the lady.